about James.
Yeah.
Why, hello.
Oh, look at that.
Welcome, everyone.
I was trying to time that. It didn't work out.
To Legends of Logomancy.
Now we know the timing.
The best Dungeons and Dragons actual play / podcast this side of YouTube on Monday nights from Canada.
Woo!
Hey.
Hey. Hey, you turn that thumbs up to the side, friend, neighbor.
I don't know pop culture.
It's the Fawns. Get with the 60s, you hoser. I see how it is. We're down one right now, but it's okay.
Yes,
we'll figure that out. David!
Me!
That's a stellar hat. How's your day?
Thank you. My day's been good.
Good.
It's been busy. The roads are awful. I managed to get home on time, and I'm actually quite surprised about that.
That's the thing. I like it. I managed to get home on time too.
Mm-hmm.
I even got to devour a plate of dinner before I got.
You work at home.
I'm still doing that.
Shush. I had to leave my house and come back. It was the thing. Riley, how's your day?
My day was not too bad. Pretty standard Monday. We were just ordering way too much product for our store, things like that. Like way too much product.
Mm-hmm.
It amazes me how much people drink during the holidays, and then I remember, oh wait, we're meeting with family. But
and our wives buy us beer advent calendars. Thing. Melissa?
Hi.
Hi.
That's me. Hi.
How you feeling? Alive?
I'm alive. I have something called a voice.
And you have sushi? Life is
I
good.
had sushi. Now I have a stomachache. It's good.
Like all good sushi.
Yeah. And I have lovely Canada Dry.
There's a reason why I don't eat.
Not a sponsor.
There's a reason why I don't eat sushi in Alberta.
You know, it's okay. All right. Full disclosure. It's actually really good sushi. I just, like everybody else, ate way too fast because for some reason we've decided we don't eat on stream, even though that's not a rule on the stream, just so that everybody knows. You can snack.
We don't eat crunchy food on stream.
Yeah, just
because that's
yourself.
Annoying.
No, I'm just going to start going.
Oh, no.
No, that's for the OnlyFans.
Ew.
Let me just...
Riley, we will take you to there's a place off Glenmore that is really good. It's all you can eat. I can vet this place. I've gotten many a stomachache from there.
Yes, but I am a BC boy.
I understand. And it's still pretty good. It's still pretty good. They know what
all right.
All you elitists can just suck it up and eat the prairie sushi and deal with it.
Eat prairie sushi and you'll like it. Hey, Mac.
Prairie sushi.
Hello. I unplugged everything, grabbed a new bar, and plugged everything not into that bar in the end anyways.
And you're not bees right now. We'll tell you.
Oh, I'm sure you will. The one day that I go through extra things to make sure I'm not going to be bees is the day that I'm the worst bees I've had in months.
That's not the worst bees, but I appreciate the forethought.
Well, it's the worst bees in months. I'll agree with them there.
Yeah.
I blame your apartment. It's all good. So, we're going to go around the table because we missed a week. So, when last we left our heroes, Riley, what happened?
We started traveling from the womb after we had learned from we left the womb. We started traveling to the equivalent of the wood elves, who are not wood elves, but they're kind of creepy elves.
Bug elves.
Yeah, thank you. It's like Riley's bad with names. But as we were traveling along this path, there was a certain creature we encountered that, well, you know.
I made a friend and then you stole it away from me.
Yes.
That's the thing.
I mean, it's just Doomy. I mean, can't we let Quill have a friend?
I mean,
the first time in like a year.
Does Quill need more friends?
Yes.
Yeah. One of his friends
this is the
might
first
be
time
dead.
I've successfully made one. The first friggin' time I've successfully made one, would like to point out.
Turn got mad at you.
You know,
Oh, there will be repercussions for this, my friend.
I know. Please refer to fish.
Fish.
Darren, you know what? Hoots. What
Well,
happened next? Quill made a friend.
Quill made a friend with a giant relic sloth. After that, we were taken to their burrow, which is what they call their communities. And we learned that Doomy had not come back through that way. And that, in fact, honey badgers in this world are just as scary as they are in our world, aided by the fact that they are massive.
And there was a certain creature in the forest we had to dodge or be aware of.
We did see the rock slide.
No. It was something else. But that was. Oh yeah, the rock slide.
And that's the honey badger situation. Is like the thing we're supposed to watch out for in the forest is this elven equivalent of a honey badger.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna throw something up here.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is
Yay.
for all intents and purposes where you guys are kicking it right now.
Ooh. I like
Love it.
that.
That's what the Village of Pirin essentially looks like.
I am
It's-
getting massive Heroes of Might and Magic 3 vibes from it.
Yeah. That's the general gist of this place. Is everything's built into trees or underneath trees or around trees. Yeah, in a vague sense. So so yeah, what happened next? Hoots. Putting
According
it all on you, bud.
Yeah, I see that. I definitely see that. Well, we rested for the night. After abandoning Quill's new friend.
I think that's where we got to, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where we got to. Is we were in town and we were gonna go look for Doomy as soon as we could gather more information because we were going to meet with somebody. I think.
So as you entered into the wood, despite your efforts, you were waylaid, we'll say. A dark-skinned woman presented herself before you.
Right.
Introduced herself as Seeker Mia. And heard what you guys were looking for. And confessed that there had been no Doomy coming through this place. Nor the any party or delegation from the womb at this time. But she led you back to the Village of Pirin. Which is Hoots to your ears kind of an odd thing.
Mhm.
That's like being like the village of humans,
Mhm.
right? Because the different elvish tongues that you speak and are familiar with, both Pirin and Miriam are words for elves, right? It's like you saying like Pirin elves is saying like elf elves.
Yeah.
Miriam elves is, elfy elves, but they mean very different things. So, likewise, in your understanding of the language, and maybe something that you got a chuckle of, the term like manservant and like guardsman, that sort of thing. Yeah, it all comes down to like, this is my elf servant. This is my guard elf, right? and everything, anywhere that you would hear the term man, they just slide elf in there,
Okay.
in the rough translation, which is a little humorous. So you were led through town in our last episode, and you saw a couple of things, and I'll just recap. Elves on the outskirt of the wood, or as you come into this the burrow, as she referred to it. Everyone young here, as in like sub 20 years old, is fucking jacked. Like, these are Arnold Schwarzenegger children.
Right.
Like you saw a mom pushing a cart over a root, and her like 10-year-old got down and lifted the cart and moved it over. Like, they're in this kid's squats, and he's probably squatting at least you.
Turn is slightly impressed and slightly concerned.
And it's reasonably calm. There's not a lot of chatter, but as you're led through this village, and again, very similar to the picture shown, you realize that occasionally people are just having long, drawn-out glances at each other, and then they turn and they'll go about their business, and they'll stop and they'll look at each other, and they just kind of like daze over for a second, and then they keep going. Quill, you've still got that animalistic sense of like there's a buzzing in your ears, that low hum tinnitus, like there's a lot of electrical machinery. It's like being in a server room. There's a dull roar. It is.
Yeah.
It's not unpleasant, but it's certainly like noticeable. It's maybe a little irritating. Yeah.
Do I sense it like around me in this area, or is it just coming from the wild?
It feels it's literally a sound hitting your ears, that is emanating from everywhere.
Oh.
Like when you're in an office building and everybody's working, and there's that dull hum of like 1,000 voices and tiny noises all blending together all at once.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, if I
Catawampus.
put my ear to a leaf, I'd hear it on the leaf.
Not so much. A leaf would be silent. But,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it just sounds like there are way more voices than you can see around.
Sorry, do I notice them as being voices, or is it a buzz?
It's a buzz. Kind of like your mic.
Okay.
Right now. Mac is bees. With that, you're led to a big underground area, inside a massive root structure, similar to the picture presented a moment ago.
Okay.
The roots themselves are hollowed out to make chambers. So you walk up to the front of this tree, and one of the root structures that comes down, you walk up and into the root. It looks like it's been hollowed out into some kind of a bridge or a walkway that naturally just goes up further up into the tree. And as you look down, there's spots where the wood is carved away, so it looks like you can see down through the floor that you're walking on. And you can see below the tree, down into the ground, there's a large pit below that seems to go down for hundreds of feet. And there's other structures and houses, and like it's hard to tell what's what, built down into the dirt below that goes almost subterranean. But the sunlight seems to stream through, and there's a faint white mist that kind of permeates down below the root structure. Think Leaf a Tree from Final Fantasy IX, right? If you need a motif where it's just like it all looks like techno-organic root structure and mist.
Ooh.
You're led into a large antechamber with sunlight streaming in. Mia's keeping about 2 steps ahead of you. She's making polite chit chat as you go, pointing out things like, watch your step, don't fall to your death.
Don't touch this one flower.
Yeah. She specifically is not like, don't touch this one flower. There's certain things where she's like, it's not condescending, but she's essentially treating you as though you were children. And everything she says, she's saying like this. This is dangerous for you.
Dorn has been happily nodding along.
Yeah.
As you go.
Agnes keeps on being like, Eh?
If you
Eh?
want, if you want to touch something. But no, she leads you forward. There's a confidence and a purpose in her walk. Like there's she's doing her job, right?
Right.
She takes you to this large antechamber, and there's sunlight streaming through. Hoots, this is not glass in all of these places. You see it. It's not glass. You're fairly confident that these people have made windows out of honey and let it harden. Everything has a faint orange sort of and yellow tint to all of the glass that you've seen.
Yeah.
I want to lick it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Right, Hoots like those birds with his little beak pinned against his little tongue out, like.
It is as you're like inspecting, it's like this is absolutely some kind of like candied sugar. Like you've seen cool confectionery things done with sugar.
Yeah.
They made buildings.
Can I just throw something in? I think Hoots's dad was a avid fan of the Food Network.
Like every Albertan man.
Like every Albertan
you
man.
hit 30 and you're like, oh, the Food Network.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I see you. I love it.
Well, it's gotta that or just generally HGTV. So.
Yeah.
You gotta pick one, and Food Network.
You're either doing DIY or learning to cook shit that you're never gonna cook again.
Yup.
Why not both?
In this antechamber, with its windows made of almost see-through, completely transparent, yellow-tinged glass, there's a tall, slender, pale, elven woman with her hair done up in a bun and a high-pointed collar. And it kind of flares out from her like a web-like robe. And on her face, she seems to have more of those acne scars, like what you saw before. But they're not scars, they're holes. Specifically, similar to what Mia had. And she manipulates a thread of water from a small watering can. And you see she reaches up and waters a bunch of hanging trellises and plants that are like 30 feet up in the air with just a thin stream of water from this little pot. And as she reaches up, you see that her wrist and forearm are similarly just dotted with holes.
Can
If
I
the-
check?
Oh, go ahead.
Seamus, stop scratching your cone. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I check to see if these look like something you'd find where like ants would burrow through on like, or bugs and beetles would burrow through on like trees and dirt, and see if it kind of looks like that?
Roll a nature check.
Maybe I will.
Maybe you will.
And by maybe I will, I mean I will. Give me a nature, you said?
Yeah.
I suppose I can do that. Nature. It's gonna be a
Natural. Funny.
That's a strong way to start the session.
I like it.
It's my only one of the night. Enjoy it now.
How do you have a 0 in nature?
Because he's not very smart, and that wasn't a skill he took.
I live in trees, he says.
Yeah. Quill's understanding of nature comes from experiencing nature and licking things and then learning not to lick things. It does not come from picking up a book and being like, I wonder what the nature of these things are that I shouldn't lick. That's not his MO.
I mean, in fairness, Agnes also learned everything she knows about nature by picking it up and eating it. She just
Exactly.
then wrote it down.
Exactly. So, yeah, she's wearing this kind of like pointed sort of head or neck piece, kind of like what you see before you, and has similarly these dots all over her face.
Yes, but do they look like?
Yeah. Yeah, they specifically look like if the wind blew hard enough, her face would make flute sounds.
Do I with the nat 20? Do I see any bugs moving about?
it wasn't so much a perception, but yeah, every now and again, as she like turns and looks, you see from one hole there seems to be something that goes into another hole, and it takes way too long for it to get there. As though it were
It's
some
like
kind
one
of
long thing or one little tiny thing walking across.
Mac, you're super bees right now, but yeah. It's it went through all the way through one side and into the other as though it were some kind of thin violet centipede.
Violet?
Yeah. It is
Have
not
we
a
seen?
dark
Have I ever?
color.
Have I ever seen violet centipedes around the womb?
Not so much.
Okay.
Most insects, the dull-colored ones you're
Mhm.
familiar with, much like frogs, the dull-colored ones are fine. The things
Okay.
that are terribly colorful will probably kill you to touch.
Okay. I'm just gonna say, because I have horrified expressions on my face, Agnes is really, really amazed and interested. Melissa's just disgusted. And I'm having a hard time schooling my features because the image this is provoking is disgusting. But Agnes thinks it's amazing.
Wonderful.
Agnes walks right up and is like uncomfortably close to this woman, looking at her nose.
Yep.
I usually live inside my friends. Your friends live inside you.
She puts down her watering can and steps over and says, "We are Delver Trilukui Krud. We will hear your mouth words." And sets the can down, puts her hands in front of her, and steps forward, as though like she's in a bridal procession, just like slowly walking one step at a time deliberately.
We are the time guys. Who are we?
Oh,
Who are we,
God.
guys?
Huh. I wasn't
Introduce
ready to name
yourselves.
our party.
Who are we?
Oh.
We are the bees! I don't know.
Dang well better not be bees.
Nah, you're all right so far.
You're not bees, but we are
I'm,
the bees.
I'm
We're the
literally
bee's knees.
plugged in.
We're the knees. We're the bee's knees.
I am plugged in to my computer from another room.
Okay.
Completely different power.
Yep.
Hi, we're the bee's knees.
No, that's like no.
Too late. I said it.
Do we need to have a metagame thing here where we decide a fucking name?
Yes. You
I
have
didn't
3
ask you to name
tries
your
or else
party.
I'm
You
the
guys
bee's
can-
knees.
You guys can choose to
James,
do whatever you like.
I'm sorry. Step aside for a second. The party needs to talk about the name for their company.
Okay. This is never something we discussed before, but all right, do it.
Yeah, exactly. This is how it goes.
Yeah, you introduced yourself as a plural and we're a plural. Guys, we go.
Guys, yeah, no, there's like a quick instant huddle. Like everybody just goes like, all right. All right, so
Boots, we need a cool name. You've
You
got
heard.
sunglasses. What's cool?
you tell me about this Kanata place. What is cool from there?
Most of it. Depends on the time of year, really, but most of it. Timbits are cool,
This is
Bit.
and hockey's cool. And sometimes you take your truck out in the middle of nowhere when it's real cold out and there's a lot of snow on the ground. You just give her until she doesn't stop giving her, and then eventually
Never
it's stuck.
stop.
We could be the Loosey Gooseys.
Do you know a goose named Lucy? Didn't we appease that goose goddess?
I mean,
we did
kind
appease
of.
the goose goddess, yes.
She
Okay,
did
so
give me a warning rather than anything else.
But she
used
wasn't
me
mad at
and
you.
didn't apologize.
Okay, but she didn't kill you, and she did give us Dern's cool water hammer.
Yeah.
It's
So
true.
gooses,
Her name was Finella.
the womb's gooses.
Hi, we're the bee's knees.
No, we're not calling ourselves the bee's knees.
All right,
We are
Quill.
the name
We're
to
the
be
geese
determined.
knees. The geese knees.
Normally, I like workshop this. Like, let me go grab my whiteboard and we'll just like write it all.
All right. Well, when the break rolls around, we'll work this out.
Yeah. The entire time you're trying to like convince Hoots with the group name, and he's like, "Why are we telling the elves a group name? Did I miss something?"
You're doing something.
So
She has bugs in her face.
as she comes down comes walking towards us, I go, I am Dern.
You gotta do
This
the whole
is-
name, buddy. Whole thing.
Fair enough. I have been a little touchy on giving my full name to things with fey nature.
Ah, they're just the French. They're perfectly fine.
Dern.
The French? Yes.
One thing that you caught earlier.
Yes.
The sclera of Seeker Mia's eyes were black with yellow hectagonal irises. This lady's irises are completely split. She doesn't have like black and then round. She has black and then a bunch of hex grids where her round eye should be. And they all seem to... It's like her one eyeball is looking in 12 different directions at once.
Dern,
You can still see the black, but much like the picture that you see before you, where the iris should be is just a bunch of different smaller hexagon shapes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will would normally be enthused by this. He's a little sad. He's just kind of staring intently.
She's also not like moving her eyes left and right. She's just staring ahead. But it's like taxidermy where she's looking at you no matter where you are in the room.
Yep. I am Dern Rupa, the Silver Light of massive height and bringer of most massive hope. These are my companions, Quill, Agnes, and Hoots.
I quickly pull Lou out and kind of shyly go, "This is Lou," and put him back.
And of course, Lou. Dern smiles to Quill, and then but looks back and goes, "We are seeking our friends from the womb. They have gone missing, and we are unable to contact them."
You see her turn, and she looks at Mia. And wordlessly, like, it seems like Mia's making, like, gestures, like, kind of shrugging her shoulders, so, like, tilting her head thoughtfully. And then Delver, in front of you, she introduced herself as Delver Trulikud Ukrud. And that's attached to... Give me half a sec. I'm gonna put her name on a nameplate for you.
Rude. Don't write that down like Hoots is gonna say it.
I like it.
I'm gonna call her Delvatruda dude. So
Tree Lacrude.
Delvatrula dude, yep.
Delver.
Delvatrula dude, that's what I said.
And Hoots, you had filled these guys in a little bit beforehand about the idea between Seekers, Frass, and Delvers. Delvers are the old wizened folks. By this stage, they've undergone some kind of a relationship and have developed those compound eyes. They've got some heightened senses. Seekers are the younger, more martially inclined people, and the Frass are the people transitioning in between.
Yeah, quick question. My audio is not coming through video, it's coming through Roll20.
Some of your audio should be coming from Roll20 for certain.
Weird.
Not
like
your
the music that I'm playing should be coming through Roll20 right now. I can prove it to you by pausing it.
No, I know that, but when I mute the tab, it mutes your voices too.
Oh, that's weird. Is the music too loud?
As long as it's not. No, the music's fine. I just wanted to make sure we weren't not actually streaming audio.
No, we are. Come through.
Okay.
So she hears your plea and seems to have some kind of an interaction with Mia. And she turns to you and says, "We will inquire with the other. Please be at peace in our burrow." And she walks past you.
Just like,
Yeah, walks past you. And
thank you.
Well, they do that. Just you get used to it.
everybody roll me a perception check quick.
I can do
Dirty
that.
20.
Boots,
Yeah.
she's not walking. She's got her feet on the ground, and she's just doing this. She's not hovering. You have keen owl eyes, and you notice millions and millions of little centipede legs underneath
Oh no.
the bottom of her feet are just moving her. And she heads down the hallway past you, leaving you there seemingly with Mia. And as you turn to look and be like, are we supposed to, like, you see her, she's exited outside of one of the root structures and is upside down, walking away down one of the root structures, hanging by her feet and just like moving as though she's on a Segway.
That's kind of
That
a
is
neat trick.
absolutely disgusting.
A bug way, if you will.
A bugway.
A wimbo way.
Melissa's trying very hard not to grab a bucket.
My feet hurt thinking about that.
Now, were they a part of her feet or were they just carrying her?
He didn't see. He just saw like tiny, tiny little centipede legs on either side, sticking out from what looked like dress robes.
I don't usually struggle this much between what my character thinks and what I think, because I am just so horrified. Okay, so I had recurring lasting nightmares about that scene from The Mummy where the little scarab things go in their bodies and like climb. Like
Yeah.
I really have a problem with it. But Agnes would think it was so cool. I so rarely have something I'm so at odds with.
One of my favorite movies. I'm just gonna
It's
throw that
such
out
a
there.
good movie.
Brendan Fraser is a national fucking treasure.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
I'm so happy he's back acting.
Me
Yeah.
too. And the reasons he stopped acting are just wholesome and good.
Yeah.
So
So Agnes is enthralled and tries to look for bugs.
there's seemingly no bugs around you.
No.
Seeker Mia turns and says, "It may take some time to confer with the other."
Who's the other?
And she just gives you that long, hexagon-eyed look. She says, looks away for a moment past you. "Come with me." And she walks with her legs the way that you would expect a person to walk.
Good. You know what? Dern's happier with that.
Agnes is trying to imitate walking with millions of legs and is just like shuffling along the ground, trying to pretend.
You're like
she
doing
is-
that kid thing where you like slide on your socks and then slide on your socks.
I'm like, I
sock
am
skating.
not even stepping, just like her.
Like you're trying to build up an electric charge on the
Yeah.
yeah.
And her
And zap
frizzy
your
curly hair
friend
is
on the
getting bigger
ear.
as she walks.
Schoolhouse Rock style.
just every once in a while, she walks up to Hoots. Zap.
Zap.
His feathers are like sticking up a little bit.
She leads you to a small resting chamber where the beds seem to literally grow out of the root structure within this tree. So like the headboard for each of the beds is coming up out of everything is a single piece of wood. There's
Including the mattresses?
the mattresses look like they're green shoots that have intertwined like willow branches. And as you like it's got a soft gossamer sort of weave on it.
Yeah.
The first thing that seemed arachnid, the thread count on these silk sheets. Oh man.
Hoots is standing there like, oh no, you see, that's your first mistake. You want to use pine burrows. That you tie them together, you lay them in the crook. It'll be the best sleep you ever had.
And as you sink putting a hand down, it just like furls down into a bed framed hammock, and it just slowly does this.
Okay, I might have been wrong. I might have been wrong. And there's no grace to it. Hoots just literally does the like roll over and flop in. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Are we
you don't
going to
You don't
bed?
have to stop it from doing anything. It just kind of moves. And Mia says, "I have duties to attend to. You are. I have made arrangements. Please be at peace in the burrow."
Who is the other?
She
It's
looks
like
away.
the French. You don't ask too many questions.
This is a bedroom. Who is the other? What is the other?
Where is the other?
How is the other?
When is the other?
These are all valid questions of the other, but I am no delver.
Is the Delver?
You met Delver Triclue de Cude.
Is there
She will
another
inquire
Delver?
with the
She's
other.
busy.
She looks confused for the first time since you've met her, as though you're like, "Where are adults?"
Agnes
And-
feels accomplished.
Yeah. And she says, I will send someone to your aid to instruct.
Yeah, if you could send us somebody that knows about your stories, I'd love a bedtime story.
Yes.
Yes,
With mouth words.
yes, mouth words.
Oh. Good. And she turns on her heel and walks away, leaving you in a warm, comfortable room with sunlight streaming in through spun sugar windows.
I want to lick the window.
You want to lick the window?
I'm gonna lick the window.
It tastes like
Schnozberries.
a little like Elmer's school glue
Yeah.
mixed with like icing sugar. Like arts and crafts time.
Okay, how high up is that window? Because it's not like ground level, right?
Hundreds and hundreds of feet up in the air.
Boots, have you ever seen anybody in the womb with Elmer's glue? Like school glue?
I think the guy who runs the shop, I think he's got like some kind of paste.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Elmer's glue, no.
Well,
Probably Gorilla Glue.
This just seems like a lot of glue. Do you think somebody came from Earth with just vats of glue? Whose idea of life is glue, Boots?
You know, there are biological substances that really resemble glue that function in similar applications.
I understand that, James. Agnes is having a conversation. Go away.
I mean, like,
I'm
Lick
just
the
saying
window.
that
She's trying to avoid that.
is it like glue, or is it like a little piney?
Well, it tastes like glue.
Follow-up question.
she licked the window like it tastes like schnozberries a moment ago.
So it did. How much glue did you eat that it's a formative memory?
Well, the glue in New Zealand tastes different than the glue from Canada. So I like to, taste out the different manufacturers. It's fine. This doesn't taste like the glue from home though.
At least it tastes like different glue. I was assuming it was sugar of some kind. They remind me of bees, and I figured bees, sugar, probably some kind of honey, or like, I don't know.
I wonder if they let me have
sap.
some.
It certainly has a honey or a maple syrup kind of texture and shape to it, but it's very thin.
Could be
But I
sap.
have a
How
very
hard do you think it
important
would be
question.
to fix this if I took a piece?
Oh.
It depends on how they make it. I wouldn't.
I want
Take-
to.
Hoots, you recall specifically, because this is what we do here now.
Yeah.
Pouring maple syrup into snow
Yeah.
and pulling out like shards of glass as a fledgling Canadian.
Everyone does it
Sugar
once.
Huts.
And you're like, it's so cool, and it's a kitschy like winter festival sort of thing that goes along with snow cones, right?
I,
That's
sorry,
exactly what you see.
slight side tangent. I didn't actually do a sugar hut till I was 20.
Guys,
I've never done one.
I've never done one
We-
either. Thank you. You and me, we're gonna go do one, okay? We'll document
Sounds
it.
Can I just come because they're amazing?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I was like
Yeah.
4 the first time I did one. Maybe it's like a northern Alberta thing, but like it was like a super important thing.
Yeah. Oh my god, sugar huts are amazing.
You got really cold, and making bannock. I did both of those things.
Yeah.
I'm
I grew
questioning
up
my
in a
education.
house and I stayed in the house. I had a pair of boots that could arguably get you to the bus.
Dern looks at Agnes and goes, you want a piece of the window?
Yes. Yes.
Dern pulls out his small little knife he has and just
No.
chips a little bit.
I'm
Just
gonna
chips a
take
little
the
bit.
piece of the
It's sup-
window.
It's surprisingly sound.
Oh, I can't get a chunk or anything.
Roll me dexterity.
Okay.
Just dex.
Just X.
We're just vandalizing the hive.
16.
Yeah. After a little bit of time, you work a knife back and forth, and it's like sawing spun sugar. It is a hard substance, and you make like a fine curled powder as you like go back and forth
Okay.
with it. You've put a small, you got a chunk about the size of a toonie.
Awesome. I toss it down to Agnes, and I kind of take some of the dust and I kind of put it back onto the spot where I got it out.
Agnes digs through her bag and pulls out a double bubble wrapper. Doesn't have any gum in it, just a gum wrapper, and wraps up the piece of window and puts it back in her bag.
Dern,
Yes.
the dust you feel, it has a familiar kind of texture to it from your days back home.
Oh.
Your people
Yes.
had a reputation for eating anything and everything that they could get their hands on because you put nothing to waste.
Exactly.
This absolutely reminds you of meal made from ground up bugs. So
Dern tastes it.
that mixed in with some kind of sickly sweet. It's like it's a combination of bug meal and honey.
Dern takes
not
like a
wrong.
moment and just kind of smiles, thinking back to Eberron.
The thing. So you've
And-
eaten the windows.
I've
Gotcha.
eaten the
Agnes is
windows.
used to eating her house. It's fine.
Poor Tim.
It's consensual.
I don't know
What
if
you
that
do-
makes it better or not.
what you see off screen is every time Agnes goes on an adventure, Tim goes to therapy. And it's like, I'm just trying to get through one day at a time.
Well, no, I was thinking that Agnes comes to the adventure high as fuck.
I'm just imagining like Agnes in the corner of her house being like, meh.
None of this is
Ugh.
real. Agnes is still in the womb. There are
You've
people with
you've
bugs
never
in
met
their
sober elf
faces.
or
Agnes is actually still on Earth.
All of this is Agnes's.
you have never met sober Agnes before. Ever. She's an accountant and not the spicy kind.
She works for like a law firm.
Mhm.
You all thought Agnes came back from Hemlig.
Okay, so
Sometime
after
later.
chopping the window,
You take some time. Sometime later, a tall, pale-skinned elven man arrives.
Does he have
Um,
holes in his face?
Does
Does he
but,
have?
but
is-
just one on one side. It's like a beauty mark.
Oh, he's a seeker. Hi.
Mia had them too.
Yeah,
As
but
a
not,
seeker.
but not like
Yeah.
everywhere.
He's wearing a long robe head to toe, and he comes forward and he's got his hands crossed in front of his waist, and he says, We are the Yarda. We will use this one's mouth to make words for your ears. Seeker Mia has asked me to lead you where you would like.
I'd like you to tell us about the other.
Come.
You're
And he
not going to take us
turns
to like a
right
kitchen,
now.
right?
and he turns. No, he was casting command on you.
Oh, okay.
No.
I do
You
not
start-
fight it. I accept it. Okay.
You hear Dern's moans of pleasure coming from the back of the room.
Hey now. Hey
You're an
now.
all-star. No. He says,
Dern is a
Just-
very private man, okay?
roll a better wisdom save. No.
Wouldn't that be Constitution?
Well,
Depends what.
depends on the spell. It's magic. Magic touch. Magic fingers. Anyways. Please, come.
I have
And
to
it-
cast Mending after this.
The words are strange coming out of their mouth, like they're not used to, like they haven't spoken in a while. It's a little raspy. And almost like the tongue is too big to fit in the mouth. You all know what I'm thinking of and feel what I'm expressing right now. When your tongue is just 2 sizes too big to fit in your mouth completely. And he turns, seems male presenting, and walks using normal bipedal movement, but seems to have kind of a sweeping motion back and forth, as though they're not quite used to doing it this way. And in the center of this large tree that you're in, there's a large round chamber full of ankle to knee deep mud. Like they've taken you down quite a bit. And there appear to be about half a dozen adult-aged elves in this room, all sitting submerged in the mud, like to their waist, stripped. Their garments hanging on a wooden rack off to your left. And the Yarda says, "This is where we commune with the other. We are never truly of a different mind or body, but there are some who find the sensation of this place beneficial to fusion." And they pause and they look at you expectantly, as though that explains everything.
Can I get in the mud?
They look at you pointedly and then lean their head back with disappointment. You have not undergone. I don't believe that you would experience anything but tepid mud.
That doesn't sound good.
I think that
Should
has to
count.
This, it is worth pointing out, this man is thin and gangly and of about a head taller than Dern. So to Agnes, he's
Jesus.
basically like tilting down at the waist to see you.
Agnes is just going to make eye contact and then touch the mud. Be like, yeah, it's a little cold. And I'm going to put the mud.
It's somewhat warm. Feels like mud.
Mud.
There's a few benches, and there are people just like, they appear to be stripped down. Think communal Roman bathing sort of thing. The majority of them are just sitting to the waist. One is laying on their back. One is just literally nostrils hanging out.
I'm going to take a few steps back. Hoots.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a cult.
I mean, a lot of things that look like cults are probably cults. But from what I
Cult
understand,
45, you're in a cult.
from what I understand, they're kind of like bug people. I don't know if it's necessarily a cult so much as there might actually be more going on. I've learned a lot in my travels, and sometimes some things here look weird to us. And I mean, that's probably fair. You came from New Zealand. It's a smaller towns. I don't know where I was going with this.
I'm not sure either. Please dig your hole.
We are going through this like derailing train together in real time.
Your understanding is admirable, Birdman.
I wouldn't say I understand. I'm just not here to judge.
I think
I have a wife now.
You are
This is good.
Congratulations.
Great. Congratulations.
Thanks. It was.
Will you fuse?
I don't. I hope not.
How do you
he looks bewildered at first. Like for the first time since you've met him.
Well, she is significantly larger than me.
Oh.
Or maybe
that will be very painful for you then.
I don't remember
He lays a hand on Agnes's shoulder and it says, "Fusion is often uncomfortable but necessary."
I don't really want to do that today. And then
he takes a moment and he says, "I must relieve myself." And he pulls his hand back from you and kneels before the mud for a moment. And you see him lift his hood back, and there's like striations all throughout his scalp, where there's hair that used to be there but is gone in weird kind of zigzaggy sort of rows. It doesn't look like a design thing so much as maybe there was some kind of an affliction. And he opens his mouth and he turns his head to the side as some kind of long six-legged creature crawls its way out of his mouth and down his arm and down his leg and zips off into the mud.
Oh, that
and he adjusts his jaw.
A whole lot more.
And he Barclays his way up. And he turns and he's like, "One of the other felt like mudding."
They're like Trill.
I think Dern is just like, I've already seen so many things here today. So the others, are they the creatures
Why
that
do you
live
add
inside
that
you?
to them? They are the other.
The other?
Yeah.
Are they the creatures inside it?
Yes. They are
They're
the
like-
creatures everywhere.
They're symbiotic parasites. Parasite's not the right word. So they're symbiotic entities. There we go. Okay, I'm actually starting to understand this a whole lot better. Are you or are the other the telepathic ones?
He thinks back for a moment. Yes.
And that answers actually a lot. That explains a lot.
And he gestures to his physical form. And he says, "We undergo a symbiosis with various members of the other. Because of this, we are able to communicate as they do. We have sharing of ideas, stamina, magic. The physical transformation is hard on our children. They can't control it. And the
Explain
bolstering that the other provides is somewhat outrageous.
They're
Pirin,
closer to-
under the age of 100, are physically bolstered with enhanced strength and speed. elves over, and he specifically like mouths the word elves for your understanding. Over 200 are mentally bolstered as our colony changes, providing clarity, psionic abilities, and enhanced perceptions. Though our physical aptitude diminishes. And he rolls back his sleeve, and you can see what it looks like somebody, like a CrossFitter that stopped and like started starving themselves. The muscular structure is still there, but it's not quite healthy.
Ooh.
And they say, I am of the Frass. I have not yet become a Delver, but I can no longer be a Seeker. And it doesn't sound sad, it's just a thing.
Agnes, did you watch Stargate? Yeah? They're like the Gould, but like more symbiotic.
True.
Like a combination of the Gould and the Trill.
Or the Yerks.
Oh.
Yeah, Animorph.
Dern then looks to the guide and goes,
The Yarda.
the Yarda, and goes, so when the Delver said that she was going to ask the others,
Other?
the other, they meant that they were asking the forest, in a sense.
It's a hive, Ern. They have to talk. They can't just kind of like all being of one mind. They just can't speak all the time. They have to go and convene.
Yes.
A little bit of Borg mixed in there.
The
for good
bleeding
measure.
one speaks true. And it like gestures to Agnes's hair. And
Dern nods and goes, okay. So we're having lots of scouting parties.
because
Yes.
we
Dern, do you
we confer with the other that there are
That-
many minds, and it can sometimes takes time to have many conversations.
Dern, do you remember why Doomy was coming here with that envoy?
No, I was under duress in the Bennies, so I did not hear the mission.
I believe I was on a magic carpet ride with Benasha, so I don't remember.
Roll me intelligence.
Me?
Hmm.
Who?
Anybody that would have been privy to this knowledge, just roll me intelligence. Let's see what your character recalls.
I don't think Dern was privy to it because Dern was recovering.
Yeah. So, Hoots, you recall specifically, Doomy was sent over here as an envoy. Communication with the Village of Pirin is spotty because of the nature of their hive mind. Things like sending end up failing. Things like scrying end up failing. Because it's hard to scry on a creature that is both everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. So they don't see themselves as individuals.
Didn't the sending to Doomy fail?
The sending to Doomy failed, and a scrying of Doomy failed as well. Ascending to Doomy's party did not fail, but they didn't answer.
Doomy's a bug.
Zzz.
Doomy, oh my god.
The Yarda stands before you, like expectantly, patiently.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
What would happen if somebody who was not Pirin encountered, came in contact either with the mud or had undergone some form of fusion? Is it possible for a non-Pirin?
It is not unprecedented, but symbiosis occurs when with the very young. And it is something that is taught slowly, introduced. It can't be done forcefully.
What if it was to save an other?
This wouldn't be done by the very nature of the other. For instance, they are not individual. We are not individual. I myself host burgeoning of 40,000 other in this shell. And you saw the size of that thing that came out of his mouth. Maybe they're not always inside him all at the same time. Melissa is muted if she's speaking.
Oh,
She's not. She's just muttering.
She's just whispering.
Just muttering.
Bugs.
Bugs.
Unpleasantry.
Unpleasantry.
If there is information about the one you seek, if they were here, the other would know.
Oh.
When was the last time you had an envoy from the womb?
I don't know personally. Hold, please.
Do 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 do.
I believe it was several months ago.
Which direction did they come from?
From the womb.
What direction? From what direction did they approach Pirin?
Following the road.
Not through the through the wood where we came.
No, that was very dangerous.
Yes, we know.
Yes.
Very
Please never
interesting.
do that.
Did
And
you say
UA
the
is cunning.
wood was dangerous?
Yes.
Yue?
Anue.
Inue?
Yeah.
Who is Inue?
Anue is a dangerous creature that hunts in the woods.
Yes. The creature that we were talking about, the honey badger type thing.
They are inners.
Inners?
They are a type of... You may call them a spirit. They take many forms. They are very dangerous.
Do they speak?
I believe so. I have never spoken to Anue before. I've never encountered Anue before.
Are there many or just one?
He looks truly perplexed for a moment. It's like, there are many inners. I believe there is a single Anue. There is Anue. There are also siblings. Siblings. Shared brood?
Family.
Shared brood.
Family.
Anue, Alpamak, Amikuk. Yeah. Siblings. Doing weird things with his hands when he does it.
Okay. Well, perhaps we'll meet them one time when we are not on the road.
Perhaps so. Do you have other questions? Would you like to see more of the burrow?
I think Dern nods a little bit and just asks for a small tour, I guess. I don't know if we have to roleplay it out, but at least a little bit of a sense of the burrow. While we wait for the answer.
you're shown to another chamber where several elves, this is closer to the root system to the ground level. There are several elves sitting within round pods. And each paw or each elf is wearing some kind of a wooden band on their chest and forehead. The Yarda says that this is due to the nature of our symbiotic connections, we are able to use certain magics where we share life force amongst each other. Dern, this is something that you know how to do.
Yes. Lay on hands type thing.
This is similar to the warding bond spell.
Oh, yes.
That
Okay.
is
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your paladin spell list.
Yes.
Where you have to use a platinum ring on both points of contact, and you can grant resistance to a creature and then take some of the damage that they take in their place.
Yeah.
The things that the Yarda is explaining are very similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
These are used to boost the stamina of our scouts by sharing the life force of people at home. We all do our part.
Interesting. So they do kind of like a warding. Oh, that's an interesting idea.
Like batteries.
It's the Matrix.
Pirin-based batteries.
Oh God, no! Why? As you see someone off in the corner start clawing at their chest, screaming, as slash marks start appearing all over their body. And the pod next to them, somebody slumps and is dead.
Dern runs over to the one that's been slashed and immediately casts Lay on Hands.
And they like, ah! And it starts healing over. And you start to see a slit start to appear across their forehead, where their hair starts getting slowly pulled back. In front of you. Other people around you and behind you. I'm gonna kill the nice, easy,
Music.
sensual music, and just jump into something else. People around you are starting to scream one by one. 6, 8, 10 people, all screaming at the same time. Most of them seem to have fallen unconscious. Burns start appearing on their body. And the fella in front, Quill, directly in front of you, one of them starts like ripping at the band, trying to get it off.
I'm going to go and rip off the band.
As you lay hands on it, your eyes flash white for a second. And you see through the eyes of a body that's laying on the ground. And over top of this, seemingly the person on the other end of the band, is a human man in a round cowboy hat, for lack of a better term. A shining, gleaming knight that seems to be wiggling a finger and casting Spare the Dying on this creature constantly, as the man in the black hat slowly starts carving a message into this person. Roll me a perception check.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. 18.
You see something that maybe shakes you a little bit. Dangling from the waist of that man with the black hat is a rope belt that is intensely familiar to you. the group of hill giants that took you in when you got here. One of them was they used the term runt, but not as strong as the others. And they had this magical item, a belt of hill giant strength, on them, made for them, so as a prosthesis. And you remember at a certain point finding a bit of string that kind of quite matched the color of Lou. And you had this familial relationship with them and like kind of wove it in so they'd have a similar marking to what you now wear on your armor. It's that belt.
But it's not attached to that hill giant?
It's not on that hill giant, it's around this human.
Does the human fill it out?
Magic items move and shrink with their wearer.
Right. Shoot. Oh gosh. Okay. So I can't cut this thing off because I let go and I kind of flash back as this thing is happening.
And as you let go, you look down and he's laying on the ground, breathing hoarsely, and is like clawed. Most of them were shirtless because of the nature of the apparatus. It looks like banded wood. And they're carving a message into the back of this elf that you just had hands on. That Dern, you've successfully managed to keep the person in your hands from succumbing. You felt no such connection when you pulled at the wood. The wood splintered in your hands immediately.
Okay.
Right? Quill, you only got this because there was an active connection going through to this one elf at that time. And now that they're laying there, they are bleeding out. But they're actively, you're seeing writing being incised into this creature's skin.
What's it
What
say?
does it say?
For all intents and purposes, it is a rude manifesto of purity, some ramblings about light, some ramblings about how these creatures are sick, twisted, should never have been born.
Ugh.
They're not right. They're not the pure ones. Something to that nature. It's hard to make out because it looks like cat scratches on skin, actively bleeding. And finally, the person on the ground collapses, like just stops moving. Around you, there are almost a dozen people laying still, minus the one that Dern managed to dump into.
Yeah.
Agnes, you see this. What do you do? Agnes, you probably like
Healing word.
snap off a healing word, and somebody that hit the ground starts to kind of move a little bit. They're probably going to be okay. There is smoke billowing out from the bodies of a bunch of people around you.
Like, did they die and now they're starting to billow?
A little bit, like, Dern,
Mm-hmm.
there's a smell of ozone that happens when you smite something.
Yep.
And that's what's coming from these people, as though it were radiant and not fire.
Oh. Dern's confused. Dern kind of goes like, you said that there was. Oh, no, wait. Do we even know what's happening? I just
You
realized
saw a bunch of people dropping all around you. You've got that faint hint. Somebody that Quill had gone over to try and help get out from one of these harnesses fell to the ground, and they seem to have this like manifesto of hate
and I'm
carved into their
smelling,
back.
and I'm smelling smite ozone, if you will.
Yeah.
Smite zone.
It's like Axe
Smones.
body spray, but like the D&D version.
Yes. Dern goes, divine magic.
Old smite.
Dern just turns to the party and goes, there's divine magic.
Boots,
Do we notice how Quill's doing?
Quill, you've got a person that's died in front of you, and they've got writing getting carved before your very eyes on their body. They're not quite
Yeah,
dead because the connection still exists there, and that's how they're transferring these wounds over. Seems
I kind of
big, twisted, and sadistic.
yeah, I have a bit of a panic and a freak out, and I kind of like stumble backwards after having that vision, and I'm just kind of pointing towards it. There's there's woods, there's woods.
Uh,
Quill,
Dern drops the guy he's holding. No, puts him down gently.
what
Uh,
was their name?
Pardon me,
What was their name?
the elf in front of me.
No, the half giant with the severe limp that was using a prosthesis that this evil human is now wearing as a trophy. That was your friend. What was their name?
Oh, hold on, I need to pull this up here. Give me 2 seconds. I have
Rowan?
lists of these.
Throwing the improv your way.
Yeah, hold on here. This he was weren't they hill giants, not half giants?
Hill giants.
Okay, I was like,
Yep.
uh, his name was Rorog.
Rorog. I love it. Yeah, they're wearing Rorog's prosthesis, which
I
you know
as I
from
pulled
you know from experience playing with Rorog. Putting that thing on made you way stronger than Dern is.
yes, I kind of as I pull back and I'm kind of like pointing at stuff. I'm like, this Rorog, and this words, and this, and I just like start hyperventilating.
Hoots is gonna pull Quill back and just kind of pat his head as he's watching the writing appear.
hmm It is frankly bullshit nonsense.
I want to specify. Hoots is not petting Quill to calm Quill down.
Yep.
Dern
It is not working. Don't worry.
Dern puts down the body or the person he was holding and runs over to that body to try and heal it.
That person that you put down seems stable.
Okay.
As you rush over, you see these letters getting traced out. It looks like it's being done with like a sharpened fingernail or something. Something to a point.
Yeah.
And you as you like lay your hands down on this person and throw that divine energy into them, you see the redness and the inflammation kind of glance over, and it's just left with white scars with this missive carved into their back.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn to our friend.
The wood snaps in your hands as you break that connection.
Yeah.
And as you do, the writing immediately stops.
Okay, good.
What is this?
Uh, the Yarda is perplexed and a little bit panicked. And
Mhm.
as you witness this, they're immediately like dry heaving to themselves and seem to be in a tizzy. Their eyes look a million miles away. As you look out a window, there
I
are several people that are kneeling on the ground, holding their heads, vomiting.
Oh, so it's like a communication thing that's kind of happening.
From
Kind
what
of.
you understand of these people in the limited time you've been here, some of what these people experienced was just passed on to the community at large. Men,
Ah,
women, children, whole 9 yards.
Jesus.
Not enough to physically harm them like these people were, because, again, similar to Dern's magic with bolstering and bonding, this seems to be a little more long range and a little more. It's more powerful than what you can do, Dern, but it's
Right.
very specific.
Yeah.
Um, and seems to require these channeling devices to do. But all of these people share a hive mind.
So they're
I'm
communicating,
still
they're
just
talking.
yeah, I'm still just kind of like still kind of shaking, kind of pointing out like at the waist of like pointing at the waist and the back, kind of between like the writing and the belt, and the writing and the belt, and the writing and the belt.
Mhm.
I want to see if any of the people in this room are conscious. Any of them, any of them conscious.
There's the person that Dern just ripped the device off of, and the person
Mhm.
that he healed. The rest of them are dead.
We need to get to where the bodies were. And they know where they were because they were connected to them. The one that's alive, I'm
Two
gonna
that are
go
alive.
the 2 that are alive. I wanna go over to and talk to them. Like, "Hi, um, this has been a bad day."
Is that the one in Dern's arms or the one that Dern just left on the ground?
Dern's arms.
You notice decidedly, one of the ones that you fired your spell off for, um, they have failed all of their death saves at this point and have a similar smell of ozone, as though they were inside the circle of some kind of radiant
Yeah.
spell.
Um,
Um,
I'm gonna lean down, be like, "Hi, you're safe. Um, we wanna help. Where were you?"
and they kind of roll over it. They look half dazed, as though there's 100 conversations happening in their head all at the same time,
Mhm,
and somebody's making mouth words at them.
mhm.
They're non-responsive.
Oh,
They have this individual, if it could be called that, has just been through a traumatic experience.
yeah.
I
But
have
given
charm,
that,
I have charm, not calm person
yeah,
going on in my spell list.
given the nature of these people, perhaps talking to somebody who wasn't just physically injured could still
Yeah.
share that information with
Okay.
you. But
All right.
you're not on the wrong track. But
Yeah. Dern, we need
trauma.
I'm gonna share my plan. Be like, team, we gotta find somebody that can take us there.
Dern nods, immediately stands up, looks to Quill and Hoots and offers hands to help them up.
As you kind of like come near Quill, he kind of like moves away and he goes, "This, I saw things."
What did you see, Quill?
And he kind of gets a little low. He goes, there was, there was some sort of like, what you said it was human, James?
It was a human man with a black hat. In fact,
Right.
I have a picture. I have a picture for you. Give me a
Please
moment.
show me that picture.
Bear with me a moment as I drag it onto the map. Almost
I'm
identical.
not a doctor. I kind of
Maybe a
like
padre.
do this. There, there was a man, and he had a black hat, and he was wearing Rurug's belt.
Whose?
He's he's one of the giants I lived with for the when I first got here.
He had his
And
belt.
he had his belt. It's one of those belts that makes you really strong, like very strong, and he's wearing it. I don't know why he's wearing it because I don't know what that means about Rurug, and I'm worried about Rurug, and I don't know what's going on. I'm very scared. I don't know what to do.
You're gonna help. Well, we need to figure out if we can get where they were.
Um, Dern turns up to the guy up there, or to our guide, and says,
The Yarda.
"The Yarda." Looks up to the Yarda and goes, "Where were they? Can we get to them?"
Can you describe? And they're like, they turn their head for a second as if there's like something physically in their ear or in their head. Can you
Mhm.
describe where they were? Quill, roll me a perception check. I'm just going to give you a straight roll because
Can he have advantage because of his
he
abilities?
he doesn't have disadvantage despite it being in a flash. He's
Okay.
got a straight roll.
Okay, sorry,
I
I'm doing this on multiple computers. You said which one?
Perception. I will say your audio is clear, concise, your camera looks great, and you haven't beezed at all. This is
Yeah,
fantastic.
we'll see what happens. It was a 14.
14. You were in a clearing, or these people were in a clearing, and there were 8 or 9 stones in a circle, and then a big statue of some kind of a person in the middle. They had a weird face.
I
That's
I
what you got.
relay this to everybody through like, kind of jittery about there's the stones in a circle, and there was like people, and and, and it was a really freaky looking statue.
And the Yarda kind of like, again, they seem to be taking this, having a physical reaction to what's happened.
Yeah, you and me both.
That sounds like the Glade of Discovery. It, it's a place where we first encountered the other, our Anne. And they're moving their mouth, but they're not saying words. And you get this lays a hand on you, Quill, and you get a flash again of that place. But it's not exactly the same as how you saw it because there's not death and terrible, horrendous people around. It's almost looks like a memory of them walking through, and there's like birds chirping and insects buzzing and big circular copse of trees with a big stone statue of something that is vaguely elvish, but with a really they got their face has problems. Because most of it's
Problems
not
like
there.
holes.
No,
Oh,
like most of it's not there and it's long and angular. Um, it looks kind of like a praying mantis's head, but without eyes.
Hmm.
I like pull back from this vision and kind of like give a quick hiss at the person who just touched me. And I'm like,
Yep.
don't ever do that again, please.
Is that the place?
It's similar. It's not like it's not like like exactly. It's a little bit more happy there. And the one I saw is not very happy looking, and I don't like it.
All right.
I think Dern nods and goes, puts a hand on Quill and goes, "You're being strong." And he looks to the Yarda and goes, "How do we get there?"
2 days west with your feet movements from here.
2 days.
We will send seekers. Do you believe that these people took your friend?
We don't know.
And he's bowing. He's kind of like again, inner ear pain, something.
Yeah.
You see movement underneath his robes here and there, as
Yeah.
though there's something writhing.
Yep. Bug motif.
Bug motif.
um, maybe if we can get more answers, we'll be able to find out.
Have they attacked before? Are they new?
I have not witnessed. They specifically use the term "I" this time around. Have not witnessed these creatures before.
Uh, okay. um, dang. Oh no is right.
He's
Again.
fucked up. He is fucked up.
Okay.
That is a mass trauma event, and this man is standing in front of you still, just doing his best. While hundreds of his like people around him in close proximity scream in his brain.
We will help you. Please continue trying to find Doomy. We'll help you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We need a
Give him the directions, and I point at Quill.
He offers his hand.
Quill, we need your help.
I can do it.
He
I mean,
reaches out and touches the owl
technically,
man on the chest.
technically, Quill and I both have the tracker ability and can. Once
Yeah.
we have the map, we can't get lost. But I
And-
want Quill to do it.
He touched Hoots after Hoots offered.
Okay.
He lays a hand up against your chest, and you see this like, it looks like some kind of a combination between like a stag beetle with a mantis head, and it like comes out from his robes. And it looks like a V opens up on his forearm, and it just like slides out and the thing flaps back down. That's where bones are supposed to go. And it just like crawls over onto Hoots. And it settles itself into your forearm. And it looks up at you with these cute little eyes, and it bites you. And you're immediately flooded in with this like intense memory of leaving this place and having thoughts of wariness and these thoughts of like not letting your family down and making sure that you did it right, and all of these mixed emotions of like, holy fuck, I'm gonna graduate high school, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So that kind of sensation rushes into Hoots, and you feel like you're reliving a memory from the Yarda, from the last time that they traveled to this place. You get this feeling of like deference and reverence, as though it's considered, if there was a holy place, so be it. All of these feelings of like, that's fucking dangerous. Like hearing stories of people not making it through, of having failure, and needing to go out into the world, and just it's an emotional trip, and I need you to make me a wisdom save.
17.
17. You hold to yourself, but you feel like you want to, like your bowels go to liquid a little bit.
Mhm.
You're like, "Eh," and you perk it right up, and you instinctively recall from here the path that they took to get to this place. And maybe it's not like the most direct path that a trained scout might use, but this is how this person knows how to get there. And it was seemingly straightforward. You remember the spot that they camped the night through. There was a ruined area. You remember hearing, it's like a tower with a little pond attached to it, and looking out and seeing your reflection in the pond, and you look like a much younger, more swole elf. You had a tendency to walk around without a shirt on because it was the sense of pride. Um, and you remember getting these like almost like ghost stories of um a badger with the lower half of a fish. Don't get too close to the water because the badger with the lower half of a fish, Alpamak, would come and take you. And then other legends of Anue and Amikuk, um, preying on those who didn't pay reverence to the area.
But I didn't take that vision.
Yeah.
You know,
I
And
would
I
have
think
loved
it's
to have Quill explain all of this after seeing the vision.
There's a really
That's what I'm
important
getting at.
clarification on how you worded something, though. When you say that it settled into Hoots's arm, did you mean onto Hoots's arm?
Hoots,
Mhm.
you kind of like pull your feathers away, and it's buried its face deep into your forearm. Like
Leeches!
it doesn't hurt. In fact, it feels kind of itchy, like a sunburn. Just a little. Like you're aware of it, but you're like, this is fine. It just itches a little bit. And you see its butt slowly rise and fall, as though it were a tick of some kind.
Hmm.
But it's, you know, about yay big.
Good Christ.
None of this is okay, James.
um,
And the artist says, "We are with you, Eric."
Mm.
Question.
It's less the like being called his name and more being like, I don't like people here calling me Eric.
Question. Does Dern actually know Hoots' real name?
It's
Do any
probably
of us?
come at some point.
It's
It's
probably
probably come up at some point, but he literally never goes by it.
Yeah, no,
I would go one step further, and I didn't do this, but he specifically says Eric Manoila, like the whole thing,
Yeah.
all at once.
Oh,
You do not have this sense of like being connected to these people. You do not have like a telepathic link with them. Like nothing. There seems to be a little bit of a connection.
interesting.
Do you want to make haste now? Should you rest first? You journeyed here. The day is late.
It would
He's
do
like-
our it would do us good to rest tonight.
I will arrange the seekers to go with you in the morning. I do not know who will be able. This is, and he looks at Hoots decidedly, and he like wordlessly is like, this is fuckery.
Oh.
It is so ingrained in your being.
Yeah.
you come back and they're all of a sudden all just speaking in Canadian
I
accent.
spy, eh?
Yeah, I spy, babe.
They're all standing around like, oh fuck, bud, gotta get chorin.
Center a bit too hard, bud.
I gotta go rock a piss. Be right back.
That being said,
Cruising for a bruising there, bud.
the Yarda no longer walks with stride and just like stands. It's eerily like they put their feet together and they kind of look down and they just start like segueing. Decidedly, knowing what you were looking for, Hoots. They're beetle legs on the bottom of his feet this time.
Hmm.
Just
Hmm.
dozens and dozens on either side of his feet.
Weird.
He's wearing shoes. That's fuckery.
Everything that's coming out, Hoots is definitely still sitting there being like, if they were Crocs, easier for the legs to come out.
You get this immediate image in your head of a croc with like beetle legs slowly poking out of the bottom of your feet as though it were a helpful suggestion. You want that? Yeah?
You still have the bug in your arm.
No, it's like it's legitimately like a good idea for them. Like it wouldn't be good for me. I fly most places, but like
Noted, friend. You hear echoing through the back of your head as though you had a Bluetooth headphone on.
Boots is infected.
Cut the arm off. We can grow them back. It's fine.
that's no.
The Yarda
Right.
leads you back to that resting chamber. It's got a bitchin' view. and says, "We," looks quizzically at the um, glass window with a hole in it, and
oh no, it was just a time. I covered up the hole.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
little mud there.
quizzically, and like looks at Hoots for a second, and Hoots, you get this immediate feeling of like they know,
Yeah.
they know because you know.
Yeah.
It's at no part does any of this feel invasive to you.
Mhm.
There's nothing more than, say, aside from the name bit, surface thoughts.
Mhm.
And the artist says, "Seeker Mia will pick you up soon. Rest at first light. Um, Help." And turns and like they put their hand to their head, and that they're like wiggling the hole in their cheek a little bit,
Ew.
which is like the um the Delver had a bunch of little holes. Yeah, his is decidedly larger because
Mm,
he's got beetles. She had millipedes. It's a
Mm.
thing, you know. And he looks fucking wrecked and puts his hand to one side of his face and just like he's
Gross.
uh, half muttering, but they're not. It's not real words. He's just like making groan sounds as he goes off.
right.
Mhm.
And he turns and he points at Dern and he says, "Come!"
No. Rude.
Dern's like, "Ah." No. Anyway, you're left to your devices in this chamber. It
There-
is it is warm. The sun's gone down, but it's strangely like there's a pulse to everything.
Hmm.
And as you like you go to sit down on just like a root bench and it feels warm to the touch. And the beds feel slightly warmed to the touch.
I think Dern just kind of turns to the party and goes, "Well, we found something out. Now the question is, do we have any idea who these people might be? Could these be the other party members from the womb?"
Would I wouldn't really know people from the Dostocks, would I?
Well, your favorite bar with a fireplace just for you is there.
Or not the Dostocks, sorry, where Dern's from.
The Bennies?
The Bennies?
You know,
Benny's.
you would probably know it better than Hoots or Agnes would because you spent a fair bit of time there looking after Dern, right? Um,
What do I recognize any of the faces I've seen today? Would I any of them even in their, fucked up state come off as
roll me an intelligence check. This is just recalling past information.
I got a 0.
Because again,
So that's gonna be
you
a
don't think about like that dude that was on the bus across from me 37 days ago. What was his name? Like, or what was that described feature?
Mm-hmm.
yes, no, I rolled a 4, so I'm not gonna be like N from Death Note or anything.
The man in the hat seems familiar because
It might
not a
be
lot of
L.
people. Yeah, it's L. N was later.
Right.
That was near.
Oh yeah.
Right.
The man in the hat seems familiar because you're like you don't see a lot of people wearing it, but you can't really place it. You're pretty sure it was the pits because Dern spent a lot of time there, but it's very tangential. Like you never talk to that person, you never nothing. But the hat is definitely familiar.
I
You
I
see
kinda
Carl
I kinda
Urban in a
pick
lot of things that you don't necessarily recognize immediately.
True. I kinda peek up for a second and I go, there was the hat. I don't recognize any of the people, but the hat the guy was wearing, it. I've seen it before in the pits, but it's the hat's one thing, but the belt that he was wearing. If he's got that belt on, he's a lot stronger than Dern even is. I wore that belt one time, and I was able to lift like stones the size of Dern and larger.
Dern's going like, I
And
kind of want to build that
A nice
now.
belt.
Yes. But that
and
was your
if this
friend's
person has
belt.
that, it was my friend's belt, and I don't know how he got it. And if he's got the belt, I'm now worried about my friend as well.
Well, then we need to find out for multiple reasons.
And I feel like if Doomy came to this area, then like I feel like usually bad luck comes in threes, and so we've got Rorug, and we've got the people here, and Doomy would make third.
Dern nods to that and goes, now, you said a black hat, and you remember seeing it down in the pits?
It's like it was like a giant, like it's like a wizard's hat, but not pointy at the top, and the brim was very large. It's kind of like a witch hunter's hat if you've ever seen a witch hunter before.
Can, with that kind of knowledge, I'm asking for a stretch here. Could Dern try and think of people wearing something like that in the pits?
Roll me just an intelligence check.
Okay.
You're not
Well,
unlocking the
I
puzzle
always
box,
have a
but
knack
maybe
of
you
getting
can
20. Oh, that's a
You
3.
only roll 20s when it's about the box, and you're more prone
yeah,
for 20s. The
exactly.
smaller the area you're in, the higher probability you are
That's
for
true.
20.
True. Very
the
true.
something piques your memory. And it was this intense emotion of just like, fuck that guy. It's not so much the hat, it's the experience, it's the like reading the manifesto on that person.
Okay.
You remember something where it was a conversation that you weren't participating in,
Okay.
but it was somebody in the gym spouting some shit. And they
Got
were
it.
promptly told to go fuck themselves and shut up
Okay.
by like some rando.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It seemed real preachy. Really like once you understand the true nature of things, everything will become clear. You just gotta like understand the real truth behind things. It is every supplement selling gym bro influencer that you've ever met. That is
and
also a podcasting conspiracy theorist.
Dern actually has met a lot of influencers since he's come to the womb.
Alex Jones meets a CrossFit bro.
Yeah. So Joe Rogan.
Is he also like 5 feet tall? Like,
This Quill, this person did not seem to have a towering stature. He seemed to be like not as big as Dern.
Okay.
Probably
Like-
bigger than Agnes.
He's like Hoots' height, but he's like Dern's strength times 2.
All I remember is an argument of some sort. Somebody spouting something about how to truly get gains and things or something, and he was full of crap. But I remember him getting promptly kicked out.
There are many people in the womb. Not everybody stays.
Not
But I
everybody
don't really
stays.
like the idea of anybody trying to misrepresent my home. I think we should stop them.
I think you're right, Agnes.
Now, Agnes, you have if I recall, Never mind. I was gonna say I thought you had access to sending, but you don't because you're
I do not have access to sending. No, I went and checked because I wanted access to sending. But no, I do not.
So
Oh, shoot.
these people have a hard time. And what do you mean these people? These specific people?
Excuse me, this people, because there's one. This
Yeah.
people.
This people have a hard time reconciling divination magics that have to do with individuals.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There are people here. There is people here. I've written myself into a corner. There's a sending spell could probably be cast from this place, but receiving them is somewhat challenging. If you wanted to get a message out, there would probably be resources for you to do so.
Okay.
What's the duration on this? Up to 10 minutes. Ah, I wish it was longer. If I upcast Beast Bond, how long can I make it last?
Beast Bond doesn't have an upcast, just 10 minutes.
Is he bringing the bug with him? Because I could Beast Bond into the bug.
The bug is still decidedly on Hoots' arm.
Okay, I'm gonna prep Beast Bond and I can Beast Bond bug.
Roll me an insight check for a second.
10.
You are fairly confident that Beast Bond would not work on this creature because it exceeds the limits of your spell.
That's fair.
It has an intelligence score above 4?
Considering it participates in a hive mind of a society that
Oh, it's not
understands.
sorry, I'm thinking modifiers, not score. I got
yeah.
myself confused for a second. I was like,
Yeah.
that's a really high end.
It's a smart bug.
Okay, no, then that's fine. Ugh. I don't have. Well, we'll bring the bug with us. It's fine.
Hoots, you
Well,
get this feeling of elation rushes through you.
Yeah.
Like, do you know the way? I know the way.
It's it's referencing dated memes.
Yeah. It looks at you like Knuckles the Echidna. No. You feel strangely at ease since you've gotten here.
Yeah.
Hoots, like, you might be riding something a little bit.
Hoots is just like, this place is great. I don't know what you guys are going on about. This is fine.
For all intents and purposes, Hoots, you got a 3 beer buzz on.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, it's not bad. It's not
Yeah.
debilitating. You're just like a little more relaxed than you were an hour ago when all of this shenanigans happened. Sorry,
Yeah.
fuckery.
So
I'm glad I taught them a new word.
does this? I'm trying to decide. Can locate object? I'm trying to decide with my limited understanding of locate object about the description of this belt.
Mhm.
I should be, as long as it's been described to me and is the closest one
Within
to
range.
me,
Yes.
within range, I would be able to locate it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Familiarity is a weird thing.
Yeah.
So there's things like you can draw pictures of it. You can like, here's the thing, and this isn't so much of a metagame thing, is like in the process of learning how your spells work and how to cast them, you intrinsically understand how they work. You're not like, hold on, let me look up a spell and see how it works. Like,
Melissa's having
you
trouble
know.
with the familiarity rules on this belt situation.
So it has to be known to you, as long as you've seen it up close at least once, or it can locate the nearest object of that particular kind. Like, find me the closest magical rope belt that grants giant strength is
And
probably
that was
the
And that's what I wanted to double check is can I be that specific when we're talking objects? So, like, I've never seen it.
Yep.
Like, that's just a reality. But if we're able to be that particular in our list of wants on it, then I will.
But
Yes.
that being said, technically we have a part of it with us. It's the same string or the same kind of thing that's on
It was
Lou.
the same color of
Oh,
string
it was
as
the
that
same
Lou has.
color.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the same
Okay.
string.
Yeah, no, Lou was not dismantled to rope into this, but it's of a similar color.
Okay.
So I would say
fine.
that you have a tangential familiarity. You understand that it'll locate on a direct line of sight. If
Okay.
there's a big thing in the way, then your spell goes dull. So your experience with this walking through the forest was I'm picking up nothing, I'm picking up nothing, I'm picking up nothing, and you walk past a tree and you're like, oh, I'm getting a ping in this direction. And you start walking in that direction, you're picking up nothing because there's too much shit in the way.
Mhm.
But yeah, you know to like move kind of serpentine when you're looking for stuff like this because you're essentially fanning out,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
Agnes doesn't always strategically prepare her spells for the day. This time, she looks through the book that Magnus helped her create and decides on a few things she might want to know.
What do you guys know about these people so far?
They got bad fashion sense and they are bigoted.
Actually, Hoots would like the hat. I'm not gonna lie. Hoots' goal is to kill these people and keep the hat afterwards.
Loudmouth, preachy, unwanted, wanton destruction, powerful
And rekindled.
question mark, rekindled,
I mean,
somebody from the womb, recently from the womb as
They're-
well.
they're willing to write manifestos, which is high level incel behavior,
And they're not alone.
and they're not alone. They've got a relatively powerful paladin with them.
Or cleric.
Yeah.
If we are talking about this group, is there any way we can get a message back to see who has left the womb recently? We can send word to.
I don't think there is.
We don't
Tyler.
Not easily.
Or Mac, sorry. Mac? I need you to look at Discord, please. Your personal Discord for me.
Oh,
Oh no.
oh no.
That
yes.
armored creature that was using a finger to keep this person alive was what I've sent you, and you can describe them to the group as you like, minus the tail. It's the background image.
I
not
can't
the
describe
foreground
the
image.
tail, or the tail doesn't exist.
The tail what didn't exist. It's
Okay.
the background image, not the foreground image. So
Cool. I'm not
full
going to
helmet.
share this image with y'all. You're going to have to deal with Quill's description of it.
that's why I sent it to you directly.
I kind of pipe up and I go, there was like this is the one that was wearing the belt.
Mm-mm. This was the heavily shiny armored person that was
Right. So like
keeping this person alive.
the paladin looking one, the shiny armor one. There was one, I don't know if I mentioned, there was one in like really shiny armor. And like it's like knight's armor, but it kind of looks like it's got a skirt made of metal and like a shawl on the shoulders made of metal. I guess most armor's made of metal. And it's got like a sword, but the sword's like curved at the end. Kind of like an elephant tusk, but if the elephant tusk was only curved at the end.
Well, across their back, you saw something really familiar. And it was Doomy's axe.
As I'm explaining all this, I'm like, they had like there's like reddish skin, but I don't know if it was red of just the light because like it was a really weird place. And I think they had horns. It could have been more of the armor or like a weapon sticking up the back, but like there was something spiky. And then like they had Doomy's axe, and then there was some other stuff about like there was like little pieces of
Sorry,
paper
what?
on that.
They had Doomy's axe?
Has Quill ever seen Doomy's axe when it's not on fire?
Yes, probably.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
suppose.
Doobie
Yeah.
had a habit of turning it on and turning it off, turning it on and turning it off.
That's
And
fair.
Quill, as you say that, realizes what he said and kind of like snaps out of his little mind palace and goes, there's like some creepy looking thing in armor that had Doomy's axe.
The
Does
fact
the-
that you think Quill has a mind palace is
I'll thank you very much. His mind palace is a giant fireplace.
Yeah, it's just poking through the logs to find the right coal.
yeah. Love it.
Spark that fire up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like this ready person where with like her with their axe on the back. It wasn't on fire or anything that I could tell.
From the description of the armor, would Dern have any idea of clerics or anything?
Roll me a
Like
roll
Dern
me
is
an intelligence check. Because this is specifically like thinking of like
16.
okay.
Which is wow, Turn's doing good today.
Dern is doing this. He's like,
Dern-
ah.
Dern is focused.
His own mind palace.
Something occurs to you based on the
Oily
description of the in-depth description of armor that Quill shared.
Mhm.
There's knights in the order of the Bennies
Mhm.
that like clerics and paladins and intuits they call them. Like Lasharius is an intuit, which is a divine caster that isn't necessarily a paladin or a cleric.
Right.
She just knows this and feels this connection and channels it. Lasharius is a divine soul sorcerer. Based on the description of this armor and all of these paper tags tagged onto the armor and hanging loose with writing across them. There's a group called the Knights of Order. That are just they're a group of order clerics.
Okay.
They seek basically the tenets of order as opposed to the tenets of chaos. Everything in its neat little boxes was the thing that kind of comes to your mind
Yeah.
from your arrangements with them or your interactions with them. Like they're not bad people. They're just like fastidious. Everything
Okay.
fits. Everything finds a place. Everything goes where it's meant to go.
Well, Dern is in his mind gym. He takes those mind
Mind
weights
gym.
and puts them back on the mind rack, and then we'll start to think about things a little bit differently.
At least he puts his plate back. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
The thing
You
that
don't
occurs to
drop
Dern,
weights on the floor, David.
the thing that occurs to Dern is it's not exactly a failing of the order, but they seemed to care a lot more about the lawful than they did about the good.
Yeah.
It does you recall having a an offhand conversation with one of these folks at some point.
Yeah.
That actually in short order, let me double check something because I believe you know one of them.
Oh.
Oh,
You
no.
guys kissed under the moonlight once.
No, never mind. I was wrong.
Okay.
Telemachus is not an order cleric. You recall having an offhand conversation once about how like everything would be easier if everybody just like it's kind of like that drunk friend that's being like, communism wasn't actually all bad. They just implemented it wrong. And if everybody just like did what they were good at, everybody would be happy. And like,
Oh no.
like it's not evil. It's just like it wasn't a pleasant conversation,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak.
Meanwhile, Dern is just going, I don't know what communism is. Please stop
Yeah.
talking to me about this.
The long and short of it is, it doesn't surprise you that maybe some of these people might have been convinced that, oh, all of my fundamental beliefs are actually wrong, and maybe I've been going about this all wrong, and maybe we do need to purge. Like, based on the events that have happened to you today, and
Yeah.
past conversations, and like, there's a pretty big melting pot in the womb. You're like, it's not a stretch that somebody could have been convinced to do the crazies.
Mm-hmm.
Quill,
I go.
the person in the armor had really sad eyes,
Sad eyes.
as though they felt really bad or something. Hard to say. That's the kind of thing that Quill might have picked up on. Quill has some pretty keen senses
Interesting.
on stuff. Like, the man in the hat was fucking terrifying. The person in the armor didn't seem to be enjoying themselves with what they did.
Person in the armor had Doomy's axe.
Yep.
All right.
That Agnes has never met.
Agnes has never met Doomy, but you know what Doomy does have? Doomy has a pamphlet because Hoots gave it to her.
Agnes has a pamphlet.
Agnes has a pamphlet.
Doomy does have pamphlets. Lots
It's
of
true.
pamphlets.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
I'm aware.
she still has pamphlets. I don't know. We'll find out.
We're going to find out when I wake up.
Also, looking for a pamphlet, like doing locate objects to find more of the pamphlets, probably won't help you.
Because you'll just find the one in your bag.
Not necessarily true if it's inside a certain box.
That's true. If they kept the pamphlet.
We have tools. We
have
try.
tools.
Oh, you have
but-
tools and spell slots. Let me try, James. Don't discount my plan before I try it.
Dern goes over to Quill and says, "Quill, you did an amazing job today. Thank you."
Cole just kind of stares at you. Doesn't say much. He's very stressed.
We'll find Doomy and we'll deal with this bastard as well. Let's try and get some rest, friends. It sounds like it's going to be a long day tomorrow.
A yellow-robed individual comes to the room, bringing refreshments and meals. There is no meat. There is mushrooms and all manner of fruits, dried, fresh, root vegetables that are quite tender. It looks like they've been like, you got to scrape a little bit of the mud off because it looks like they were like, what is it? I can't remember the term off the top of my head, but it's a Filipino technique when you bake something in the mud.
Yeah.
Subterranean fires, that kind of subterranean ovens. Sorry. But yeah, everything is reasonably tasty. You're fairly confident that some of the spice blends they're just bugs straight out of the Lion King from Timon and Pumbaa. And you're like, if you don't think about the Reglan, it doesn't bother you.
But satisfying.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Dern's gonna be like, "Oh, that's not a lot of protein. All right.
Oh no, quite the opposite.
Can my spice bag make Montreal steak spice? I'm from Earth. Can I make Montreal
I would
steak
say
spice?
that Agnes's spice poach, you have the understanding of what Montreal steak spice is. The magic accommodates.
Great. I sprinkle it on my food.
I will say it will do everything short of being weaponized.
Yeah.
So you're not getting like, these are dehydrated Carolina Reaper peppers, and I throw them in people's eyes.
No. I hand it over to Hoots. I'm like, want to taste a home?
Yes.
We share it around.
There's Hoots in front of you. There's also no metal instruments. It is basically a chopstick sort of culture because they're efficient and they work. Spoons and chopsticks. There's a platter, and there's these long kind of half crescent moon grubs laid out on a plate, and they have a little bit of a black head to them.
Yeah.
And you get this instinctive feeling of like, pull the head off. It doesn't taste very good. And
Okay.
as you're eating and you like, it tastes like peanut butter. It's a witchetty grub.
Huh.
It tastes like peanut butter, like an Australian witchetty grub.
Okay.
100% just tastes like a mouthful of peanut butter. And you're like,
Oh,
the mouthful of peanut butter.
Fruits would be okay with this. David
But
is
not.
not.
I feel like this is the universal experience. We're all just like, our characters have tougher constitutions
You
than
know
we do.
what?
Can we move past this?
I would actually try that.
Oh,
Eating grubs ain't bad. You just got to get past the whole like, kind
eating
of
grubs
experience.
part.
Yeah. Hey, just
Okay, I'll tell
do
you
it.
what. I will eat bugs if they're crunchy, but I'm not eating the bugs if they're mushy.
Oh, it absolutely
Oh,
wasn't mushy until you bit through it. So, I regret nothing. I've been sitting on this for months. I wrote this before I went on leave, and you guys started taking over. I ran it all by Tracy, and she's like, "Those are choices that you've made."
I want the buggy
Right.
character, said James.
Yes.
Melissa, I'll make sure for N64 night I've got some crispy bugs here for you.
Yeah.
And
Chocolate
If
covered
I-
grasshoppers.
if I bite into the bug and it's mushy on the inside, I'm gonna spit the bug at you.
If
Yeah,
you
just make it crunchy.
feed me bugs, I'm gonna introduce you
No.
to the axe I keep in my truck.
These would be choices
Canada,
you could make.
We all keep axes in our trucks.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than one. You need a variety of tools.
I think
At
there's
your
3 in there
disposal.
right now. Of varying sizes and purposes.
Probably
This is like this is indicative of the range in which Canadians live their lives. On
Probably
one half
running-
of my screen, I have the survivalists. On the other half of the screen, I have the realists that live in a city.
city boys, not so city boys.
I have a shovel.
I'm not in between city boy and not
You know,
city boy.
That's sensible of you to have a shovel.
It's plastic.
That's fine. It's for snow. That's what it's for. That's
Yeah.
fine. And
The
if
knives
it's
are
not
in my
snowing, you
kitchen.
probably
The knives are in my kitchen. The shovel's in my car.
Mhm.
The gloves are in my purse. Now,
Mhm. That's sensible. There's like folding saws and a telescoping fishing rod and axes and hatchets and crowbars because you never know when you gotta like duck your way out of a sticky situation.
Welcome to Dungeons and Depots.
Look, if you can't find it at Princess Auto, does it even belong in your truck? Hashtag not a sponsor.
I might have placed an order
Unless.
for all of the things that are going on my new SUV already from Princess Auto.
I will say, having a 4-foot farm jack that I can strap into the box of my truck anywhere I go somewhere outside the realm of, cell phone coverage or satellite phone coverage, has not failed me as of yet. So, that being said, you finish your meal. Your bellies are as full as you choose to allow them to be. And I feel like this isn't weird for Quill.
The food?
Yeah.
No, he's just off in his little corner eating squishy things, not really
Yeah.
caring. Something about it's comforting. Because bugs and cats eat whatever they can find.
I have to also say, your sound and video are immaculate, sir. It is truly like, because I'm hearing it through the control booth. You're amazing. I've never seen such a lively shape to your beard. Dern,
Yes.
you settle into your bunk. It's slight hammock bed. And armor to the side, because that's what you do.
I still would think that just Dern just thinks lower to the floor than these
Yeah.
beds normally
And it, like,
accommodate.
huh?
Yeah. I was like, stuck. I'm not getting out till morning.
What's in the room, by the way? Is there like fires? Is there
There's no fire specifically. Each of the beds are made out of basically interwoven saplings that bend and like spring. Um, and they feel warm to the touch.
It's a nice
Okay.
tree.
There's a little bit of
Is there any-
decoration. There's colored glass looking out and down from where your room is. There's a shelf off to the side that has some carved wooden pitchers. But on closer inspection, they're not carved. They just are. As though they were 3D printed out of wood.
grown with a press pushed against them,
Yeah.
like shaped watermelons?
Yeah. Yeah. Almost to that effect. Yeah.
What about like? Yeah, are we on like a platform? Is there like, can we walk out and we're in the open? There's fires out there. Or like,
You're in an enclosed room.
Yeah.
But with large bay windows all around. Kind of like in that picture that I had showed you earlier, there's like little the rooms are on the outside of the tree on a platform, but it is enclosed. Doesn't have so much of a balcony for where you're at. You are free to walk around, and it is easy to get an open air view outside of this room. And looking down, you see lights in each individual house. You don't see fires anywhere specifically. Like, no telltale signs of fires like chimney smoke or anything like that.
okay, and everyone's going to bed.
I think so.
Cool.
Everybody's settled, it seems. Or mostly.
Trapped.
Will kind of lays in his bed waiting for everyone around him to kind of fall asleep and make their little sleepy noises. I'm assuming Dern snores.
Yeah, mostly.
Hoots feels like a
Mostly because he keeps waking up because he's just like he tries to move around and then all of a sudden he's like, nope, I'm trapped. Because it's like
First
kind of
time
like a
sleeping
hammock.
in a hammock is a little bit of an experience. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Quill from his bed while everyone is asleep is going to cast Pass Without a Trace.
And those
And
those
then-
little like I feel like it's cat fur fluff, just kind of like it's not inky shadows so much. It's just like cat fluff that you see in a sunbeam or cat hair.
Slightly distracting to the eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's going to head out of the room. And he's going to kind of like sneak until he finds a secluded area.
There's a couple of different spots close to you. There's the mud room, which is decidedly empty. At this
No,
point.
I'm okay. I'm okay about going to that room.
There's several balconies. There's just some open area, like open sky areas inside this massive tree. There's some root structures that touch to other trees in ways that trees aren't really supposed to do. Like where a root goes from the ground of one tree, but actually goes vertical to touch into another tree. Like trees don't naturally do that.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's not how roots work.
Just somewhere where there's no one around.
It's a quiet din. You have time to yourself.
Quill kind of like sneaks around until he finds a little quiet spot, and he sits down and he pulls Lou out, and he kind of stares at Lou for a second and then breaks down into just a torrent of tears. Just an absolute like downpour, like using Lou on his face. Lou is changing color from the amount of moisture that he is absorbing. he's just like between tears, he's just kind of saying to himself, he's like commenting about Rorug, and he's commenting about Dern, and he's commenting about the things that happened today, and he's just kind of repeating these things over and over and over to himself as he's like that ugly crying where you're just kind of like absolutely just letting it out in a manner that would not be pleasant to watch or hear.
You see the glassy-eyed, marble-eyed Lou held against you just falls over and boops your nose a little bit with his nose.
It is now in contact with my face where the tears are now streaming on it even more. Straight line to it.
He's goopy.
And he is goopy. He is soaking up so many tears. Quill is losing his in the silence of his little bubble, is losing his goddamn mind. And this goes on for about an hour before he just kind of is out of energy to continue. And it's the first time that he's actually felt like things aren't okay with him and around him. And he kind of like sneaks back in. Obviously not cast a spell again. He's out of another spell slot. That would be the second time. He only has 2 spells. The second time he casts that spell. And he just kind of like still trying to be quiet, gets into the room, falls on the bed, and then just out like a light.
Sleep takes you. Fitful dreams. Nothing divinely inspired. But you saw some shit. All of you. And Dern, as you're like half laying there in your Dern's got a tail, right? We talked about this. Dern's got a tail. Tail's like sticking out of the hammock on the bottom and slowly like dragging on the floor.
Yeah.
And
there's a little groove of dust.
Yeah. You get feeling. And it fills you with warmth and then feels like it kind of tickles for a second. You're not awake. And you look over and there's a swan watching you.
This is in my dream?
In your dream. And you like look down and you're laying in a hammock between 2 trees, just like a net hammock.
Okay.
The big old hole for your tail like it was meant to be there.
Hello?
And the swan like bows its head.
I tried to make a swan sound and it came out as a snort. I was trying to go honk.
Okay. Dern gets out of the hammock. The dream hammock.
There's a little pond there that a swan seems to be like floating on. There's a couple of little goslings here and there that those aren't swan goslings, those are geese.
Oh no.
You understand the difference now.
Yes. Dern approaches the swan and sits cross-legged across from it.
It kind of like paddles its little swan feet over and it cranes its neck up and yeah, it stops. It kind of cocks its head at you.
It's a dream. Dern pulls out some rations of nuts, seeds, or other things like that, and just kind of held a hand out.
As you hold your hand out, those rations are now bread because you are the Old Spice guy.
Yes.
And the swan takes it like a little like patronizingly like looks at you and it's like, really? But then it eats the thing that you have.
Well, for a
And it
second, I thought
said,
it said really.
um, the this one just kind of like settles up beside you, and you kind of like breathe deep and look across, and you look to your right, and there's a um, feathery, down-covered individual sitting next to you that you can't quite make out the shape of.
Oh.
You're fairly confident this is the person that exploded Agnes's brain meats
Yes.
oh so long ago.
Hello again. It has been a very long time.
You don't get so much of a word back as a feeling of like, you haven't called.
I apologize.
Could have called.
I was indisposed for a
Armless?
little while at one point.
Hard to call without arms.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. Is Doomy okay?
You feel somebody like lay their head on your shoulder.
Dern leans back. And then we will find who... Are we heading in the right direction?
You get this like kind of non-committal, more or less. Like it's a lot of feelings and body language from a glowing being of light next to you in your periphery.
Okay.
It's hard to turn your head and look
Yeah.
because it's like looking at the sun. And you see a handful of bread toss out beside you and feed a bunch of goslings.
Yeah. Dern kind of just doesn't know what to say after kind of getting that little bit of information. He's not beside himself, but he's definitely like, I need to find out what happened. And goes, are you with us to help us?
You have magic, don't you?
I do. And I thank you for that.
Your friend's going to need you.
Both of my friends?
The fuzzy one.
Dern nodded. I was a little harsh on him, wasn't I?
Don't think so. Life is fleeting for you. It needs to be taken serious sometimes. It's the first time that like the feelings are communicating back and forth as words, but they're not.
Right.
It's not spoken
Not actual
language.
words. Yeah.
They might need something more than you or me. And you see this like wisp go past your ear, like a leaf or something, and you go to grab it. Dern has ear holes. I'll call it an ear. And behind your ear, you pull out, and there's this diamond-shaped, rainbow-colored scale. Dragon scale.
Yeah.
Like, full-sized dragon scale. But unlike yours, it's not in one color.
No.
It's in a bunch of colors. And as the light catches it, it shifts and shifts and shifts from metallic to chromatic to gemstone. Back and forth and back and forth.
Scary.
Dern is memorized by this. Where
And
can we find this?
she like half chuckles a little bit, and you feel yourself on your knees all of a sudden instead of sitting on your butt.
Mm-hmm.
Same way that I give you magic. Be those things that link you to us. Occasionally pray. Call your mother.
And Dern looks
Jewish
down.
spawn.
Dern looks down and just goes, "I'm sorry."
There's all of a sudden there's a reed in your hand, like the end of a cattail.
Yeah.
And in the muck and the sand next to the pond, you look down at the reed in your hand, because Dern speaks Draconic.
Yes, he does.
There's a word written there for a name, and it's Zorquan.
Zorquan.
Quan.
Quan. Okay.
They might help your friend. If your friend is who I think they are. They're certainly a
Okay.
fan.
Well, if he can see a real dragon, I think it will blow him away.
That's a understatement. Next time, strawberries. And you wake up. And you hear the same sort of chittering and birds, and you're in the hammock. It's early morning. The sun hasn't quite come up yet. You feel fully rested. It is several hours before your party will wake. And you are good to go.
Awesome.
Fucking good.
Good,
Woo!
bruh. Yep.
You will spend the next 3 hours trying to get out of a hammock.
Now
40
comes the group
minutes.
skill challenge of getting out of hammocks without
Yeah.
waking up your neighbor.
Yeah. Dern does rise, and kind of gets up, and says a prayer very quickly, and realizes who has been giving him his powers, and says thank you.
Here's the thing. Your paladins don't get their spells like a cleric does. In
No.
that, pray to the god, praying to God.
Praying to God.
Getting the spells. That's not a thing. Your magic is innately granted to you by the strength of your belief and the tenets that you hold.
Mhm.
It still comes from somewhere, and it's usually from a deity that aligns with the kinds of things that you feel strongly about.
Yeah.
And in your case, that is Fenella, who's the demigoddess of Swan Maze. Yep.
All right.
Zorquan
So
is, to your knowledge, because you've come to the Bennies.
Yep.
Zorquan was never a name, because in Draconic it means dragonness. Like
Yeah.
the essence of being a dragon. Like if you've heard of things that are like, that's the elfiest elf I've ever seen.
That is
that
the
word
dragoniest dragon that
Dragonest dragon I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's what the word means. But you understand from your studies here, because you're like, Titamat! And they're like, here's a book about dragons. That name's not in there, man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Check yourself. They're a intermediate deity that is the neutral dragon god of all of dragonkind and all things dragony.
Yeah.
Everything that is the essence of what it means to be a dragon is under the purview of Zorquan. Yep.
Okay.
There's a bunch of different, you remember specifically a symbol, if that's something that Dern would communicate out later. And it's a black circle superimposed on a larger concentric white circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not quite a yin-yang sort of deal, but every dragon in existence that is aware of their patronage knows who this being is,
Right.
right? For all the like Ool and Bahamut and or and Bahamut and Tiamat, floor mat, we'll
mat.
call them.
Yes.
They this is kind of like a middle of the road sort of thing.
Okay.
So, yep.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, Dern will as he struggles to get out of the hammock for 35 minutes. Will
Can you roll for that?
Yeah, you know what? I will roll for that. I'm gonna say strength check because damn it.
Really, it's acrobatics, but
Oh, it is. You know what? It is
Well, it
acrobatics.
starts with strength, and then when you inevitably fail that, very high DC.
16.
you managed to get out just fine. You're doing okay.
Does Hoot still have that bug on his arm?
As you
Think so.
awaken. Yep, seems so.
But I guess like I have 3 hours to myself, right?
Yeah.
I'll do that little praying thing, like I said, and I'm gonna fuck with the box.
No,
Oh.
Dern.
Hold on, guys.
Dern,
I need
Dern,
something for this.
Dern.
Okay.
Oh, that's the little potion bottle.
He's got 3 successes.
Roll me an intelligence check.
Oh.
So
Dern.
Close.
very close.
Oh man, I should
For
have.
those at home, that was a 19.
Yeah,
However, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
it does, and I need 20.
You do need 20. Technically, you need higher than a 20.
I do.
Can't he do it again, technically?
No. This represents the amount of time he's sitting and fucking with it to the point that he gets physically frustrated and needs to put it away.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
and I
It's
do
not
that for
a,
about.
let's
2
try it for
hours.
6 seconds. Let's try it again.
Yeah, no. This is Dern trying.
Trying it repeatedly throughout the day spikes the DC for Dern so much that he's not going to be able to get it. Yeah.
Ken, I cosplay all the time. Don't even. I'm replying to chat. I apologize.
I see.
That's good. But yeah, no, that's what I'll do for the morning. But I definitely do my pranks, and I also try and find something on Zorquan.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, so you can feel free to look up Zorquan on the Forgotten Realms wiki for all of the little bits and bobs that you would have found in a book when it is appropriate to do so. And
All
you can
right.
share that as you feel. As you awaken, and you're like, you like scratch yourself. There's a scale that was attached to your scale. It's about yay big. It's all rainbow and
Oh.
glittery.
Thank you, Swan.
Learn the name of your god.
Yes, I know. Vanilla, thank you,
He
Vanilla.
said it to you earlier.
I know, I wrote it down. Thank you, Vanilla. Am I mispronouncing it? Am I?
No,
I'm bad with pronunciation.
it's pronounced vanilla. It's spelled Fionnghuala.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that from that, so
No.
I
All
got
you
it
need to
phonetically.
think of is that Dern's got the most vanilla god of them all.
And
Vanilla.
if you needed a reference, Agnes worships a specific patron called Ectiarn, who is the horse of Fenella.
Oh,
Riding along with each other.
Yeah,
all right.
the thing.
So, Dern is looking at the scale, going like, "I think I need to find a good time to give this," and tucks it away. It's not a, "Hey, here you go. Here's a morning present."
Close some
got a gift
horseshoes,
from
hand
a
grenades,
god.
and
I'm
fireballs.
not gonna give it to you.
Not yet. It needs to be a good timing. It's about telling stories. No, I will find a time to talk to
Your friend's gonna need this.
Aaron,
Oh, good.
as you go through your motions in the morning, you look to the side, and similarly, someone in a yellow, honey-colored robe has brought more food for the trip, as well as some small bundles that seem to be dried crackers, biscuits, that sort of thing.
Is there any lembas bread? If anyone was gonna have lembas bread in this place, it was gonna be the wood elves.
Look, I don't mean to break your immersion, but that's what good berry is.
No, good
It is.
berry is no.
Good berry
Limbus
is a
bread
berry.
was that. Your
No,
limbus
I
bread can look like
understand. No, I
whatever you like it to
understand.
be.
I understand. What I
But
want is leaf wrapped bread, James. Not
this is
berry.
absolutely leaf wrapped hardtack.
Amazing. I'm happy. That's all I
It would
wanted.
break your teeth to try and eat it.
Amazing. I'm gonna make tea. I'm gonna make really, really bitter tea and dip my dried bread in it.
What you do?
Yes.
It's for soup. Yeah, there's a small bundle of bits and bobs for the journey. There's some salves in there that you don't recognize, but they all have a really foul smell.
I'm so excited. Can I
This is
scrape them into jars?
they are in small, carved out wooden.
Pots?
Yeah, like it looks like somebody took a branch and dremeled out the inside, and then used another part of the branch as a stopper on it. And you basically have little wooden stoppered flasks that have vile smelling multicolored Vicks Vapor Rub inside.
Interesting.
I'm gonna rub these all over everyone.
There seems to be 5 of them, and there seems to be enough in each to like lather a person down with it.
What do these do? Bug people?
So by the time Agnes wakes up, this tray has been sitting here for a while. But as you all come to, and Agnes is fiddling with the jars, and Dern is already suitably like equipped and ready to roll, patiently Sonic tapping his foot.
Yep.
Hoots,
Patiently today. Patiently.
your hand doesn't hurt, but it still feels a little itchy. And that bug is a little bit deeper into your arm than he was before. But its butt is way smaller.
Hoots has fleas.
I'm gonna call him Frederick.
That is not our name, Eric.
Yeah, well, you keep calling me Eric, so you're getting called Frederick.
Have we made an error?
I don't let anyone call me Eric.
Apologies.
Okay. What's your name?
Light bug.
Was that Scandinavian in origin or sounded almost Finnish?
We see your humor.
Glad someone does. No, I'm gonna take it. I'm definitely gonna take it.
Hoots, you doing okay over there?
Yeah, I'm just talking to my new friend.
Mm-hmm.
Agnes, should we be worried?
Nah.
It's
Everyone
not-
loves
Should we
making
be
new
worried?
Everyone
It's not
loves
puffy
making
and
new
red.
friends, and it doesn't look infected. So
It decidedly does not look infected.
I'm sure that this is a perfectly symbiotic relationship.
Copacetic, if you will. And you hear in the back of your head, Hoots, a song that you haven't heard in a while, and it's in this raspy like, everything is awesome. Everything is cool. You're part of a team.
I'm
They're
sitting there
trying.
dredging up like
They're
nightmares.
they're
Who comes up-
trying to they're trying to relate to you using
What?
surface
Stale
thoughts that you've
memes.
never given a second thought to.
I appreciate the thought of like in that moment, Hoots is suddenly standing back working at like a summer camp. Like after that movie had come out, he was working in a summer camp, and there's just like a horde of 12-year-olds running around screaming it at the top of their lungs, and he's like,
That is exactly what rocks your mind right there.
like, oh, okay. Weirdly fitting. Weirdly fitting for this entire adventure.
Well, it's I presume we have our trackers with us and stuff like that, or seekers. Sorry, seekers.
As you finish your preparations, and gather up your things and head down to the base of the tree, Seeker Mia is there stringing a bow, and there's two white cloaked individuals. And as they turn to move, the cloaks disappear because they're then part of a tree that's behind them. And then they turn and the light catches it just right and they're there again. Seems like this colory, like Aes Sedai water displacement sort of effect.
Ooh.
It seems to naturally blend in with their surroundings. Be very cool for polar survival. But it is her and these two others. And as you look around, there is nobody in the streets. It seems like as you check in, the effects of what happened here kind of rocked the hive mind of the Pirin, to the point that folks are kind of indisposed in dealing. They're just like managing spoons at this point. And Mia says, "We will go. You will lead." And she turns her hexagonal eyes onto Hoots.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay.
As we get going, it's like, friends, do not worry about carrying your bags today. Dern does this and goes, hope this goes well, and casts Fine Steed.
Oh,
Before you, slowly swirling out of the ground in a silver glow, comes two massive webbed feet, sparked by silvery,
oh,
floofy, downy legs, into a horse-sized swan with a long, hissing-looking face and a bridle and a fucking saddlebags and the whole 9 yards. If it was Hoots, it'd be a candid goose, but it's Dern, and this thing just like.
Have you seen Shrek the Third? Because all I'm imagining is Rumpel's goose.
Yeah, reasonably close, but a swan.
And Dern just looks up at it and goes, strawberries. Right, strawberries.
This is the first time you've cast this spell, isn't it?
It is, yes. Dern goes, well, let's pack it up and let's go.
This is a flightless version that has all the statistics of a warhorse as per the spell.
Perfect. Sounds
But it has a swim speed.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, we can take it on the lake that's super deadly.
Yes. It's a swan boat.
And when it dies, we can sit on my lily pad. It'll be fine.
Exactly. But Dern loads it up and goes, "Hoots onwards, my friend."
Yeah. It's been a weird like 2-hour wake up period for Hoots.
This entire adventure is like a fever dream. What is happening?
Yeah, and Hoots is gonna set the pace toward the kind of like following the memory he has of where to go.
Like, stumble into the local Timmy's for the 100th time this month. You follow the same path that you always do. And it leads you out of town, or this settlement. And again, the streets are quiet and calm. And you start, the path disappears, and you just like, Hoots walks, because he's got owl feet in Crocs. Steps off the path and just is like, no, this way now. And just starts walking. Mia looks a little concerned for a moment and then follows. And like looks back, and the individuals in white just kind of fan out and away.
Oh, that's cool.
They are basically flanking for all intents and purposes. Mia saddles in beside Agnes as Hoots is like stepping his way through. Hoots stepping. And there's this fucking swan just like going through the underbrush.
Boom, boom, boom.
Should have been a goose.
Boom,
Goose stepping.
boom.
War goose.
I think Dern is, by the way, just leading the swan at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it makes more sense with everybody else.
Yeah. Mia's of a
bags.
similar height to Agnes. A very lithe form. A bow and some curved swords. Real like Arwen sort of motif.
Yeah. Without her big bag, Agnes basically has like a bandolier of jars that she doesn't take off.
Now is the bandolier not attached to the messenger bag, or is it a separate piece that goes across?
There's a blank space, so it crosses across.
I
So
love
she
it.
always wears it, and then there's a blank spot where the messenger bag goes across it.
And she says, I hope this will be okay. I have never been to the glade before.
Sounds like a beautiful place. Is it important to your people?
It is where we become frass.
Place of challenge, then.
A place of judgment.
And what are you graded by?
Our connection and our understanding, our dedication. Everything changes. Seasons change. We change. Everything ages. Everything has a purpose. There's nothing wrong with a knife, but it is not a hammer. And there's nothing wrong with a seeker, but it is not a delver. And at some point, I too will become frass. And eventually, maybe I will become a delver.
And if you don't?
I will stay frass. Then I will die.
And who decides?
Me? Us? It's the first time you've heard her refer to herself as a singular. Doing
like
her
that.
best.
And what do you want? when you come here today?
Mayhaps I will view the Emperor. Mayhaps we will find your friends.
Your emperor. I knew an empress. Is your emperor kind?
No.
Neither
There
is
is
she.
no place for that sentiment in the Emperor. They are beyond that.
That's it.
They
Mhm.
she places a hand on your shoulder and says, "It is not important. It is maybe you will understand someday." And just kind of like half puts a pin in that portion of the conversation.
Agnes looks like she wants to say a lot of things, but
You can feel free to push it if you want, but roll
Agnes
an insight check.
readjusts. My mouse is not
I'll
working.
give you a little bit.
Give me a moment.
Meanwhile, in the background, you're just hearing Dern go, okay, are you
19.
a moon
Are
dust
you a
ivy?
boy swan or a girl swan?
No. He's trying to feel out names right now. Are you a
Okay.
peach? No, okay. Are you a snowflake? No, okay, definitely not that one.
Yeah. It's like Gustav.
Okay, put a pin in that for a second. I'm coming back to you, Dern. On a
That's fine.
19 insight check.
On a 19 insight, the feeling wasn't she's uncomfortable talking about it. It's that there is a child that is really, really interested in all the basis of quantum mechanics. And they've given the, like, explain it to me like I'm 5. And then they're like, but no, like for reals. And she's like, we'll get to that part. There's a lot involved in the topic at hand. She would probably not be offended if you pushed the conversation in a way, but it wasn't from a place of discomfort. It was from a place of like, this may bore you.
No, Agnes really wants to understand before we reach that glade exactly how you run your system.
Oh, what do you say?
Your emperor, how did they come to have their place?
Time, understanding, acceptance, knowledge.
And were they
As
once like you?
possibly, I am not that old. I am
How
quite
old
young.
How old is your emperor?
You understand that of an age we are seeker, and of an age we are frass, and of an age we are delvers. Those of the delver have an intuitive connection with the other. And sometimes the other will choose one to be the emperor. That is a representative body of the whole. The emperor oversees us and the other, all of Pirin. For this area, other settlements have their own emperor. You could akin it to, she looks and she reaches down to where your messenger bag is and points to a little, like, pin of a bumblebee bum. And it's like, honeybees have a queen that is both the protector and most precious resource to a colony. The Emperor is more than that. It is not a sire so much as a protector. Not quite a deity. Powerful.
Not kind. Wise?
Very much so. They would have to be to become an emperor. Strong, fast. An embodiment of the forest. The forest is not kind. The
No.
forest is not cruel. The forest is. The emperor is not kind or cruel. They are. Do you understand now?
No. But that's okay. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go deal with this. Dern!
Yes.
I cast Speak with Animals. You'll have to excuse my friend. He doesn't always have the most imaginative names. What is your name?
Snowdrop.
That's
I am-
beautiful.
I am Snowdrop. He keeps calling me things. Peaches?
Agnes, I don't know. I'm asking names.
Perfect. Do you want me
I
to
like how-
tell
I
him,
like how
or do you want
Dern-
me to make him suffer just a little? And you can't understand me because I'm just going honk, 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 honk.
Honk, 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 honk. Honk, 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 honk.
Would you like me to
Um,
tell him, or would you like him to suffer just a little longer?
I do not wish him to suffer, but this is quite funny.
It is funny. So, 30 more minutes?
The swan gives a grin in a way that you've only ever seen Faye do, because you understand what this thing is.
I do understand what this thing is. All right.
And it
And
wraps
I
itself lovingly around Dern and proceeds to strangle him with the strength of a swan neck the size of a horse.
try
And then-
Susan.
Why did I summon this thing?
Because he is the greatest incarnation you could ask for.
Fair, did you get a name?
Try Susan. Or was it Stephen? Started with an S. Try again.
Sprinkles. Get pounded into the
Try
ground.
Van.
It specifically hisses at you.
Yeah.
After approximately 30 minutes of this, I will tell you that its name is Snowdrop.
Yeah.
This one's name is Snowdrop. It is
Perfect.
unusually intelligent, strong, and loyal.
Wonderful.
And
It
it
is-
loves you
Yep.
in a way only the Fae can.
Dern
There
getting
is that.
more and more in pay. Oh god.
So, Dern, you
Yes.
understand all the specifics of going into battle riding on a war swan?
I think I do, yes.
The whole, like, you cast a spell on yourself and it also casts it on your war swan?
Yes.
All right, good. Good to know. I like it.
War Swan.
Can you channel spells from the Kalambasha into the swan? Can the swan belt out a giant thing of water?
For flavor purposes, if you're riding the swan, we'll say it comes out of the swan's mouth. Sure. Use hydro pump. The swan's like, hey. Hoots, I'm gonna need a survival check from you, sir.
You definitely can get that.
Yeah.
That's a 10. With a plus, that's after a +4.
See. Your did you ever take guidance for yourself? I thought you took that last session. That's what you had tuned your thing to.
I think so, yeah.
You can feel free to add a d4 to that if you so choose. This is walking through the woods levels of engagement. It's not quick. As an aside, I like what the most current 1D&D playtest did for resistance and guidance.
So a 12.
A 12. I like it. It's now a reaction that you can take when somebody fails a thing.
Oh.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that better.
For chat, they are level what, 5 now? 5.
Yep.
I have not put in all of the stream elements commands for YouTube because I haven't figured out how they work quite yet. But yeah, there's throw it in chat. Well, you know what? Somebody plug our Discord into the chat if you would, and Beans over there can jump in and we can have a chat later.
Sounds good.
So Dern,
Yes.
you mount Snowdrop.
I'm Mount Snow.
Got it, boss. Dern is on a mount. Hoots with a 12. You're following instinct at this point. You don't. Agnes is actually a mark of passage human, instead of a variant human. But you're following instinct at this point. You're going through the woods again, as though you've done this 1,000 times, and you're not quite sure if you're on the right path or not. And every now and again, a swan kind of like bumps your side, and you're like, and you're walking.
Yeah.
You feel okay. And after a full day moving slowly, deliberately through this forest, avoiding encounters, every now and again, a white-cloaked individual flips down from a tree and wordlessly says something to Mia, and then steps behind a tree. And she says, "Not that way, this way." To kind of stay away from the deadlier things kicking around.
Yeah.
I like these guides. These guides are very nice people.
The thing. She leads you, or points you in a direction, and Hoots specifically leads you to the ruins of a tower. And there's a small pond next to it that you recognize, Hoots, from a dream when you were significantly buffer and more like long
Shirtless?
blonde-haired, shirtless, blue-eyed with pointy elf ears.
Yeah.
Just slightly more overgrown here. Somebody's let the bush grow out.
Just doing that. Just imagining this character doing the Chad walk through the forest. Just yes.
Hoots is cosplaying as the 70s, or
Yeah.
I mean,
don't go near.
The tangle is pulsed and overgrowth, or overgrown here.
To everyone, Hoots goes, don't go near the lake. There's a badger that's half badger, half fish, and it will make a meal out of you.
This is true.
Quill kind of like silently puts his, as he's about to activate his fishing rod, just kind of puts it back into his bag.
My brain is trying to remix "Make a Man Out of You" into "Make a Meal Out of You."
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
I've got Avatar, the Last Airbender, going through my head. No, it's just a bear.
I love it.
Yeah, we're safe to make camp here. Just don't go in the water, or listen to anything from the water.
Mia looks at you and says, "Aniwe is dangerous. Alpamak is a myth."
Maybe, but I've learned in my times here, Mia, that he doesn't say Mia, he says seeker.
Okay.
That some myths have as much power as truth can.
Your arm pulses a little bit, as though you've unlocked the power of friendship. No. Yeah, just
So you've permanently bonded yourself to this bug.
the best way I could describe it is feeling like when your sinuses let go but it's
Mhm.
happening on your arm where it's just like a small crack and you feel something flow. And
Mhm.
you're like, weird. Okay. And the sun is setting, although it's hard to tell through the trees because the canopy here is thick, like 2 C's thick. Like,
And the K still on the end.
yeah, no. And you settle in, and it seems to be the ruins of a fort of some kind where you're at. The water is clear. There's a reasonable opening around. Um, there's no roof to this place, and all of the walls, the highest is like 7 to 10 feet, spaced out.
How big is the tower? It's like in term like it's obviously ruins, but like I'm assuming there's space underneath. Like
So the footprint of the tower is probably 90 feet square.
yeah,
And there's just like there's walls and windbreaks and things. And as you guys settle in, and Mia confirms with you, like this is a place that I have been to. It's a useful camp because it has some strategic fortifications. And she gestures over to a couple of spots in the stone where there's climbing gear. And Hoots, you like look at it, and this is an eyelet that rock climbers would use like a piton.
yeah.
But it's made of wood, but it's all the mechanism with the or with the hooks that like you put it in and it spreads out and it holds thousands of pounds. But it's made out of wood. It's one solid piece of like printed wood with movable parts.
That's
And she
fascinating.
says for stringing shelter.
Well done.
She looks at you a little, like reaches into a bag and hands you one. And it's heavier than you expected.
Mhm.
And it is essentially like a free climbing carabiner or free climbing piton,
Yeah.
like what modern day free climbers would use to belay themselves and tie themselves off for rigging. But entirely made out of a very, very dense wood. This isn't even juniper. This is something harder than that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Hoots is gonna like run his fingers over it and study it for a little bit.
It feels like artifice, but in the most mundane, like, you know, when somebody like does really impressive woodworking, where
Yeah.
they're like, I made puzzles where it was all one solid piece, but if you break it in just such a way, now they're all movable pieces that can never come undone because they were built that way.
Yeah.
It's kind of what this is. It's
That's
got
cool.
bearings in it. Yeah.
Oh, little hardened balls of sap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hoots is gonna help make camp and set things up um and sit and reflect, I think.
Hmm.
As things kind of get, I'm assuming there's plenty of help. So he's gonna, yeah, just reflect a little bit on like some of his new shared memories.
Roll me an insight check, Hoots.
16.
There's, aside from the very specific things of your need to be here and on how to get to this place as from a, you know, a need perspective, there's no overlap of knowledge from the Yarda to yourself. Nothing is blending in. Nothing is forcing its way into your being. Everything that's shared has been truly like inconsequential surface things. It does not feel invasive even to you at this point. But there's a possibility there that it could. there's a hint of danger to having this symbiote attached to you that feels like if you wanted to, you could try and go deeper with it. You could try and do with these, we're going to call it a bug, what the elves of the Pirin do with these bugs. How much did you want to go from Terran to Zerg?
Are we going full Sarah Kerrigan or are we going Duran?
You never go full Sarah Kerrigan.
I don't know. It was an
I
awakening
don't know who
for
that
young
is.
David.
But what about for young Eric?
Second verse, same as the first.
How easy guy are we?
Yeah.
How are we going?
But there's, as you're quietly reflecting, like, you're aware it's like as an adult, you're like, I could do anything that I want to. I could steal a car. I could do all of these things. The possibilities are there. What molds you into making those decisions? That's up to you.
Mhm.
Or in this case, up to Hoots.
I don't think
I need a
Hoots would
bumper
push.
sticker that says, "What would Hoots do?"
I don't think Hoots would push any further on the subject. It's not something he's likely to do. And it's not he's likely to push. So I think he is going to at most probably yeah, just kind of like let the surface thoughts like connect, and that's about it.
Okay. Just kind of like flows back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
And as you reflect on the memories that you have of this place and the stories, like some of it feels like a dream that you're trying to recall that isn't,
Yeah.
like when you're like 8 hours into the day, you're like, oh, that was such a good dream. What was the thing? And it's not quite there. Quill. Boots has got all introspective on himself over in the corner. And he is a prime target for incessant question. Now, what's
This is
what's
you
going through?
actually might be well, first Hussein might actually be surprised by the fact that he actually gets a moment of silence. That there hasn't been an incessant, little tiny little bit of annoying voice in the back of his head. Because Quill is leaving Hoots alone.
There's that.
But what were you gonna say, sorry?
He's leaving him alone. What's he up to? What's he thinking at this moment? You've settled in. Mia says, our seekers will keep an eye out. The white-cloaked individuals specifically have not camped with you. Because that's not good tactical strategy. Something
They don't want to
occurs to
sleep
you.
beside the giant white swan?
No, that's not it. Mia
going
makes a small
to-
fire in front of you, Will.
I thought they
And
weren't with us.
she's so Mia is, but the two white cloaked figures are not. And she says that they will sleep apart. And she says this aloud for everybody to hear. In case we are killed in the night, they can report back what happened.
That's
One
not
method of
exactly very
communication will
encouraging.
always make it home.
Not very encouraging.
You should know. We are unbolstered.
I don't know what that means.
There are no people tied to wooden chairs waiting to take their pain away.
She seems
To
unsteady
be
when
honest,
she
I
says
still don't quite know what you mean.
There's no people in another room taking that. There's no the people that were buckled down where you had your vision. There's no one back at the hive taking some of the damage.
Burrow.
Burrow, thank you.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
She seems uncertain and nervous by even saying this aloud, as if admitting to herself that there's, in some small way, she is alone. Because I
She
mean, like,
doesn't.
there's the 5 of you, including the swan. But
6. Or no, 5. 6.
Yeah.
6.
6 including Lou.
When you're used to being part of thousands, feeling part of 5 is being alone.
Imagine always having immediate contact and connection to everything and every piece of information through your history, and then suddenly having no cell phone coverage whatsoever and being alone in a dark place.
So there's 7 of 9ing it.
Essentially, she has connection with the other in her body. That's about it.
Yes. Okay.
So
So I don't really know what to say to this being. So I just kind of go, like, you get out much?
it is my duty as a seeker to get out much.
You ever like find any animals to make friends with?
Yes.
Do you know a sloth named Flash?
Yes.
You know any ladies that may like him?
Yes.
Okay, well I'll get that information from you later when I have a better chance of remembering it.
Yes.
Quill is unnerved by this and goes, I'm gonna go talk to someone who probably has a bit more personality.
Yes.
And I don't mean
Yes.
that as like I don't mean that as an insult. It's just it's a little weird. And I'm gonna go over to the swan.
As you're stepping over to the swan, she says, "I'm sorry. I am unaccustomed to making sounds with my mouth. I have not done it since
Oh
I
no,
was a baby."
like I said, it's no offense or anything. I'm very
Saying
curious.
no offense before saying something does not make it unoffensive, but I
But I'm
understand
saying
your
it
meaning.
afterwards.
I know.
Yes. I think you're very nice. I just yeah.
She
And
blinks her
Quill just
compound
kinda
eyes at you.
yes. Quill goes over to the swan and casts speak with animals. And goes, are you from the Feywild?
More or less.
What's your name?
Well, I'm Snowdrop.
Does Dern know this yet?
I'm gonna roll a d20 here.
See if he's figured it out yet.
Evens, yes. Odds, no.
I'm gonna make that even harder. Roll a d20. On a 15 or higher, you figured it out by now.
I got a nat 1, so it's okay.
All right. Yeah. No. My
No.
name's Snowdrop.
I kind of go, oh, well, it's nice to meet you, Snowdrop. And I go, I'm Quill. And I kind of like take
Now-
Lou out and I go, this is Lou.
How does Quill speak Swan? What does that sound like? Is it a series of clicks and hisses? And like,
Hold on. I'm going
Does
to
he
try and
hold
do
his
this with Quill's
nose?
voice.
Yeah.
Hold on. My name's Quill. My name, honk, 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 honk. It's kind of got a bit of a quill to it. Honk.
Clip.
Honk,
Yeah.
honk. It's just honk, honk, honk.
Hold honk honk.
Oh.
Yeah, and
yes,
so
I'm just kind of like,
we cut back into Swan, and he's
yes.
says, "Yeah, my name's Snowdrop. Hi,
Hi, yeah, I'm Quill. This
At
is
this,
Lou. I like
hi, Lou."
do my usual introductions. I go,
at this point, Hoots is gonna know it before Dern.
probably. Be like, so like, are you just here to like be like ridden, or you can like fight?
What do you mean, bud?
Well, like, Hoots also has wings, and he fights, and you've got wings, so you're gonna fight too.
You know, in this form, I don't think I could fly. Your buddy Dern
I didn't
isn't.
say fly. I said fight.
Oh, fight. Oh, well, you said that Hoots feller, he's got wings, and he can
Yeah,
fly.
and
I've
he
seen him.
fight. No,
But
he can fight.
oh yeah, I can fight. I'm so fast, so fast. Don't even know.
Yes. I know that like he can't understand you, but you should like try and teach him some fighting moves or something.
Yeah. We'll be. You know how a bunch of martial artists got them like schools that they learn different ways of fighting. It'd be like the way of the swan.
This is your
This is the
flock.
first time. This is the first time I've been in a swan before. This is bitching.
You're not usually a swan.
No, I'm just a me.
Why are you a swan now?
Well, because he summoned me, and I'm a swan for a while.
I kind of like look back to like tough, large Dern and kind of look back at the swan. I go, this is not what I would have expected.
Well, my mistress told me that I should help this feller out. He's nice. I like him. Seems okay. Got a good heart. I like that. I would die for that man. Right now.
Dern just looks over, just hears the honk, and goes, "Wonder what they're talking about."
This thing is hissing and honking at Quill to no end. Like,
Yeah.
you don't understand. My mistress was like, that dude needs some help. He really needs some help. And I was the one that was picked to help him out. That's what I'm gonna do. Ride or die.
I kind of look back, to the bug elf person, and I go, "But this has been very exciting, but it's a little too exciting for me at the moment." And I end my spell and go back to the bug person.
Not too much personality. This one has too little.
You get something right as the spell ends. It's like, I will never let him fall. I will never let him down. It is. He's
Dern-
fiercely loyal.
Good. As Dern sees Quill about to leave, like, Quill. Hold up
Quill
a
looks
second.
over at Dern and kind of gives like a sheepish look and kind of like slinks down and walks towards Dern.
Quill, I've been meaning to find a time to talk to you today. I had an interesting dream last night, and starts to look through his stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the name. I'm bad with names. As he goes through and starts pulling his things out here. Quill, are you okay?
Yes.
We'll circle back on that. Pulls out a little envelope. Pulls out like a little satchel bag type thing from his armor. And he goes, "Here." And he just hands you the little bag.
Kind of reaches out and
Now,
casually takes it.
I need you to do something when you get back to the womb. When we get back to the womb. You need to look up something about Zorquan. Zorquan. I think that's how it's spelled. I think I've got that correct. Okay, Quill?
Quill goes, Zorkwand. Okay.
Yes. It's something like that.
Quill, you speak Draconic.
Yes.
You immediately understand what that word means. Durin's like, you need to go read a
Right.
book on dragonness and on all things being a dragon. Might come across as a little weird to you. Because you know all about dragons and being dragons, because dragons are fucking cool.
Yeah. I kind of go, well, I mean, I'm like, other than you, I'm kind of a dragon expert already.
Well, no, a being called Zorquan.
But aren't dragons Zorkwand technically?
I mean, yes. You're not wrong.
Isn't like I heard someone say that like birds sometimes are called raptors? So does that make like Hoots, is he a raptor? Does that make him kind of like a dragon? Same kind of family, right? From like, I'm trying to like blend together people's history.
Yes. I think that is similar concepts. Yes. All birds are under the same thing. Anyway, aside. Circle around to that later as well. Open the pouch.
Really quickly, Quill has some idea that Hoots at some point lived in a place called Jurassic Park, and that's what he watched over in his old life, and that he flew around his plane inside the Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That
Putting
does
pieces
not
together.
surprise anyone that is what Quill has taken from your interactions with your friends over the years. I love it.
But he gives you this little bag. And he goes, open it. And
I kind of give you a bit of a look, like, are you sure?
yes, of course, my friend.
I mean, it's not like my birthday. I don't really know when my birthday is, but it's not my birthday.
Quill, open the bag.
Okay. Quill just like in one hand puts some fingers and like spreads it open. Specifically like this.
What happened?
He takes the bag
Oh,
Yeah.
and he puts his fingers in and spreads it open.
yep.
You said rainbows on this scale, so this kind of makes
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. So you open the bag, and inside is the multicolored scale.
Vaguely diamond shape. Like so.
Are we talking like a regular dragon size scale? Like it's like,
Yeah.
It's the size of like the palm of an adult man's hand.
what's this?
So here's the thing. I don't fully know, but it was given to me by Fenella.
I don't know who that is.
Do you remember the lady who possessed Agnes many months ago?
Yes, kind of.
The goddess of swans.
That one over there?
Well, I mean, yes, that swan is a part of her circle.
I think I may have offended your goddess then.
Oh. She's normally okay with things, but I'm trying to make sure I pray more. Give her strawberries. Find strawberries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quilt realizes in his hands now, because he realizes it's not just like a shiny piece of metal plate to put on his armor. It is a dragon scale.
Yes.
And all the fur kind of he starts kind of shaking, holding it in his hands.
But here, Quill, as he's shaking, it's just like changing all the different colors. He's like, okay, you're getting the effect I was going to show you. Uh,
Oh,
this was given to me to give to you.
who gave it to you? When?
Dreams.
Well, you can't take things
Vanilla.
out of dreams.
I didn't think that before either, but apparently Fenella did this for me.
Well, kind of like eyes go kind of like slitty, and he's like, "Okay,
Quill, you are my friend, and the goddess wants to help us. And in turn wants to help you.
well, I mean, like, what am I supposed to do with it? Do I put it on my armor?
And here's the thing, I don't know. But
I'm
I
going
know it's
to
the step in the
quickly-
right direction.
I'm going to quickly look at it and stare at it, put all my will into my stare, and go into it.
It seems to resonate back your intentions like an old friend harmonizing in a song. And you're singing the same song. And you put your will and you push into it, and it seems to like reflect that and enhance it and bolster it in you. It feels familiar, it feels comfortable. It feels really fucking cool and rainbowy. Quill's point of view, right?
Yeah. I kind of like have a. Oh. Are you sure you don't want it? I mean, it could be one of your family members or something.
Dern laughs and goes, "No, my family members are in a very far off place."
What? Yes, so are dreams.
Well, fair. I will give you that point. However, it was asked from me to give to you.
Well, I very much so appreciate it. I will make sure next time I speak to your goose friend to also say. I mean, you should say thanks too when you pray, because obviously my praying won't do anything. But I'll say thanks to your goose friend, and you can say thanks to the goose friend's friend, who's in fact your god, who's a goose. Swan. It's a swan. Oh no, I've done it again.
Dern laughs
And I
and
look at the scale to make sure it doesn't start disintegrating in my hands.
Does not.
And I kind of turn over to Hoots. And I kind of like flash the dragon scale and go, I got a dragon scale and I'm gonna do stupid stuff. I'm just kidding. I turn to Hoots and I go, this is I got a dragon scale. I don't know what it's gonna do, but sorry in advance. And I turn back to Turn.
We've come to expect it, Quill. It's okay.
Cool, kind of. This, as you say that, facing Durn, he kind of gets that look on his, little bit of a sad look on his face, and he's like, "Oh yeah, right."
Quill,
Yes.
we care deeply about you. We want you to succeed. I was mad
thought-
the other day.
Boots would be way nicer to Quill if he didn't like him.
Yeah.
It's just
but
it's kind of like when you carry me on your back. I feel like sometimes I'm making you carry me like all the time.
Quill, have I ever complained?
Not particularly.
I'm worried about our friend. And I took my frustration out, and that was not fair.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, I was trying to get. I believe the term I've heard people say before. Trying to get a sloth laid. I'm not entirely sure if that's the right terminology, because he seems like he was already laying when we got there.
What have I done?
I've kind of forgotten. I kind of forgot about the whole main point because like, I made a friend, and I've never had someone in the wild actually want to be my friend before. Usually they try to eat me. So yes, it was kind of nice. And then it's not been very fun, but like I understand why you got mad. It's just not been fun. It's not like it's your fault or anything. It's obviously my fault. But
Dern kneels down and hugs Quill. And just gives a good solid hug.
There's a
And
lot
then
of matted mucus all throughout his fur, like he'd been crying through the night.
Dern pulls back a little bit and just goes, "We're your friend."
I know. I just want to make sure that I'm not the reason all of you die.
It will take a lot to kill me. I should know. I've died, I think, twice now.
But if I'm being honest, it didn't take a lot the first time.
No, it didn't. I need to work on that. And he pats Quill on the shoulder and goes, "We all make mistakes, and it's okay." And he stands up.
Meanwhile, Agnes is over bathing in a pond full of like badger trout, being like, "Bah!" No.
Agnes is sitting on a stump watching her friends and listening.
Concocting what spell she'll use when we die and she resurrects us as her.
Agnes waits until Quill's done. Agnes wants to have a moment.
Boots
And
is
so-
looking at his pipe boy over by himself in the corner, having a conversation with his own arm, seemingly.
As you guys are talking about you guys dying and, the pros and cons of your death, Agnes comes and kind of plops herself down next to Quill, kind of nudges you a little bit. Like, I wasn't planning to come back quite so soon, But
Why did you?
funny sort of thing happened. I had a dream about you, about all of you. But we'll
Did it
see about
also have
you.
a dragon scale?
We'll see about you, Quill. No, 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 you weren't okay. And
Did I die?
no, not at the end. It felt kind of like a test.
But I died at some point?
Dreams are funny. You don't question it, Quill. So I had a dream. That about some things that I feel like you haven't talked to me about. And I don't want to push you because they seemed really personal. And I know that we talk about everything, but we really don't talk about this sort of stuff. And I had a dream about a vet. They're called a vet where I'm from. I had a dream about somebody that was going to hurt you. But our friends were there, and we tried to stop them. It didn't really feel like a dream, though.
Questions.
Even though I suppose it had to have been, because I went to sleep and then I woke up and I was where I was when I fell asleep. But it was, Quill, I don't know quite what I would have done if I'd gotten back here and you weren't here. You're the reason I came back. You keep us all alive.
Well, I may be lively. But Well, yeah. So like, I had the same dream, but it's more like a nightmare. Like I don't know, 30 times in a row. And then on the last one, you guys were there. That was nice. After talking with Dern, dreams have a whole new thing, and now I'm starting to think it's not exactly a dream, which is even scarier. But like, I, to be honest, I wasn't sure if like you wanted to come back because I thought you were mad at me.
Sometimes a dream's a dream. Sometimes a dream is a lesson. That particular dream made me admit to something that, while true, also a lesson for me. Because I think, Quill, that you have a bigger story to tell than the one you've been telling. You keep asking us about ours. And I'm sorry that I keep treating you like a kid. You're not.
I mean, it's I got to learn somehow. I'm not exactly, you know, um, I'm not like Hoot or anything. He's very smart. He learns things very quickly. But yeah,
Quill, I spent the last
yes.
number of months near some very smart people. You are wiser than most anyone I've...
Quill kind of pauses for a second, and he's like, "Well, I, uh, I'm just, okay."
And I would... And Agnes wipes some tears away from her eyes. Like, I'm no good at this stuff, Quill. I'm no good at this stuff. I came back because of you. All right?
Quill, in a moment of like, everything that's been going through his mind, and the night he had previously, and now this, it's both very conflicting emotions. It's like from like this deep sadness, and everyone hates him, to not, in like the span of a few hours, basically. And he's kind of like having a moment. He kind of sees you crying, and he kind of goes, I I was gonna like I was gonna go over to the pond and wash him off, but I figured it wouldn't hurt if he gets a bit more dirty first. And he like offers Lou towards you, and he says he's really good at absorbing tears.
Agnes puts a hand, as you're holding Lou out, puts a hand underneath your paw hand and cups your hand under Lou and pulls you in for a hug so that Lou's in the middle and doesn't take Lou out of your hand and just hugs you. We're like a family, Quill.
It is nice to have a family that's closer to my size and like, doesn't just want to sit on stone all day and crush things. It's quite nice. I wouldn't really call them a family, to be honest. I was kind of more like a house pet. So this is very nice.
We used to call them part of our fur family where I came from.
Well, I mean, Dern has scales. You've got skin, and Hoot has feathers. So I don't know if that one works. We could be like multi-dermis family.
Dermis is a big word. You're gonna have to show me where you started studying for that one.
Well,
As
I
the
just
sentiment
give you a big
leaves,
hug. I'm like, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's okay. My humor's dry, Quill. I'm gonna have to start teaching a few of my ways of speaking.
as Agnes gives Quill a big hug, a familiar scent comes across Hoots and Agnes's nose. That is the Mary Jane. 100% skunky. And you like perk up and you look over at the wood elf that's in the corner. And she's not lighting up. And you hear a coming from behind the tower walls. It's just this immediate wave of revulsion as the worst. Like, it's like a black bear rolled in a pile of skunks, is what you're picking up right now.
Oh.
And as the scent takes you, let me just throw this onto the map for a second for you to witness for your very own. It looks kind of like the form of a honey badger. Almost a honey badger, but not quite. As here. Yeah, let's move this down for the audience a little bit.
no one said it was part fish.
No,
Didn't
You
I?
several
absolutely
times.
said it was part.
Didn't I
absolutely
absolutely
did.
say it's part fish?
You did.
You absolutely.
As
I did
this,
not hear
like,
the part fish part.
as this Wolverine or honey badger kind of rolls up and bursts itself over and like, and that's where we're gonna end for tonight.
Quill, do you still have that fishing rod?
I don't know why.
I don't think this is the kind of time to use something like that, Dan.
Don't think it's time to
yes, you got it.
Oh boy.
Because we're a little over, but we got started late and had some technical difficulties. So
Yeah.
that's how it works. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We're gonna call it quits here.
We are.
You can find us here on YouTube every Monday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because we are Canucks in the prairies. You'll find an edited version of this video available on YouTube in the next couple of days, as soon as I can get to it. If you'd like to check out the back calendar, it's all in the doobly-doo. We've also got a episode of Roll for Beer, our D&D beer drinking podcast. That's, I think, the best way to describe that now.
Yeah, I think it is. And that's hopefully we're recording another episode this week.
Yeah, I think so.
We have to plan that still, but yeah.
We got some time. That'll be up later this week. Thank you very much for coming and hanging out, having a good time, and telling some ooey gooey buggy eating stories. Yeah.
This episode was like ugh and aw and ugh and aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be okay. Bugs.
Hoots is gonna become a bug.
Hoots is gonna become a bug, a bird bug.
Well, Hoots has a parasite.
Wait a minute, is that where bugbears come from?
Oh my god.
A bug owl bear.
Decidedly not. Bugbears are now fey creatures that are distantly related to goblins. Owl bears.
Have
Good
a
night,
good
everybody.
night, everybody.